and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome to I think on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for our last meeting, February 18. Under number 5. When it said Mr. LaPlante was discussing required expenditures for the transfer station public works, including a burner that needed parts, and I think that's the AMWAC that needed that was all there. It wasn't just not clear. And that was the only thing I saw.
Okay, I'll reword that.
So I make a motion to approve the minutes from February 18th with the included amendments.
Mark can second that one. I wasn't at that meeting, so I'm going to abstain.
Yep, second.
There's a motion by Chris, second by Mark, to approve the minutes with the amendment. All those in favor?
Yes.
And I'll abstain. I did read the 125-page transcript review. Oh, geez.
Missed those.
February 18th.
Yeah.
Was that last week?
Last meeting, actually.
Yeah, that was nothing. The pre-meetings. I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Next is a public hearing on the State of Maine CDBG program for public infrastructure in the North Monmouth public water. And
You wanna, does Dan wanna,
sure.
or whoever?
Dan,
Okay, how you doing? I'm Dan Wells. I work for Durgo Engineering now. I used to be the superintendent of Winthrop Utilities District. I retired January, so we are doing the design on this project. So this is a required public hearing. We've applied for $1 million grant, which will put the project up to I don't want to lie to you. $10.1 million, all grant money. Well, all grant money, $2 million of it came from the mill. They put it as an in-kind contribution so that we could match all the grants that have been obligated for this project. This project, and I don't know how much anybody knows about it, North Monmouth has a PFAS contamination issue, and this project will put water lines in those areas. So it'll come down Main Street, up Blaisdell Hill Road, and it'll hit the side streets in the downtown area and pick up all those houses. So this $1 million obviously is integral to the grant package that we're putting together. We are starting the design as of probably last week. We're doing the environmental review that we surveyors down Thursday. Well, it's just tomorrow, right? And yeah, it goes by fast. So once we get all that information, we can get some real numbers and real costs of what this is going to cost. I put together a probable cost, which is 11.2 million. We have 10.1 million. So with that survey, that will nail that down a little closer. And we have a couple other options we may do to try to get this under budget. We'll put the pipe out to bid, get that built, and then we'll look at some other options if we run out of money. Instead of maybe putting a tank up here, maybe we'll increase the pump size down at the pump station. That would suffice for fire protection. I have maps. If anybody wants to see them, I'm not going to roll them out on the table.
Go ahead.
You can see it, I think.
No, it's okay. They won't be able to. They'll be able to see you right there.
This is that was put together. It shows the water lines.
Jeez.
Oh, if you don't- You can actually see it. This is straightforward. I'll leave these here so you guys can see it. What we're doing now is I'm actually doing a hydraulic analysis to figure out whether we want 12-inch or 8-inch pipe in town. We've got to maintain fire flows for the mill. I'm leaning towards upsizing the pipe. That way we can guarantee we're going to get the fire flows, the hydrants and the mill if there's something happen. And that's the key downtown North. And this has been, what, 3 years in the works?
Oh, no.
Ken kicked it off, so he's,
Right.
I gotta give him the
2020,
credit he
wasn't it?
deserves.
The ARPA money.
ARPA money,
Yeah.
but the ARPA money didn't come out until like 21 or something.
It was like
that.
one of the first meetings I was here was when you moved 100,000 from the ARPA money into there. It's
Well, thank you
it's
for-
over 4 years.
Thank you for staying with the project.
Those guys. Yeah, so this project, a little bit of background, started in 21. We went through and did a study, kept working through it. They hired Du Bois and King out of Bangor, start the work on the study. So they carried it that far. From Winthrop, I helped them obtain grants. They got to a certain point, EPA said, hey, you have to go back out to bid for engineers. So Durago put in a price, Du Bois and King put in a price, a couple other engineering firms, and they came out with Durago. I happened to retire and go to work for Durago, so it worked out good, kind of continuity of engineers on the project.
Actually, I think the very first idea came when we were noticing DEP getting readings in the neighborhood that were PFAS spikes. And then Chief Roy suggested that we might want to test fire station there.
I go even earlier. When I put that hydrant across the street from
Across 202.
Variety, we talked about maybe that would be the start of a future
There you go.
water line going up that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to North Monmouth. But then all the PFAS came up to light and then it was even more important.
Right.
That was the last of the Welch Fund, is that
That is
correct?
correct.
That is correct.
The Welch Fund.
Right.
So although we've got this far, this is still another 3 years before it comes 100%. So this year will be design. Next year will be the start of the construction, and then they'll finalize in 28. So this is not, it seems like it's slow moving, but now we've got a little bit of momentum. We can kick it along a little faster. We do have the grants. And with the CDBG grant, that will send it right into being able to be finalized. And they are on board with giving grants.
We're anticipating that the folks along the path of these water mains will be offered the opportunity to hook up, not required. But
Correct.
especially important for those who are on filtration systems now that are being paid for by Tex Tech. They're going to have an alternative.
That,
Public meeting.
yes, once we get this to a certain point on design, we will have a public meeting down in North Monmouth and bring everybody up to speed in town. So they know what's going on. Obviously, everybody in town will be invited, but
So the PFAS is from Texas or?
they are from the chemicals that were used.
Why
It was
would
never
anybody?
ruled that Tex Tech was the main.
Correct.
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 I'm gonna say if it was, then why would we need grants?
Well, you can't, yeah. I mean, PFAS was used,
That was 5 owners ago.
yeah, and PFAS was used in firefighting. There's contamination at the fire department, which is nowhere near Tex Tech. I mean, there are so many things that contribute to it. To point the finger at one place, it's not.
I think it's also important to realize that, Tex Tech in its previous owners have provided a tremendous economic engine for North Monmouth for about 100 years. And they did not have a sewer system until 1970 something. So This is just one of those things where you got to do the best you can, given the circumstances you've got.
I always like to point out to people at Tech Sec didn't manufacture the PFAS can. They purchase it off the shelf, like we purchase things off the shelf and use it in their processes, so.
Yeah.
Just to break down where all the money's coming from. Senator Collins, $500,000 drinking water program, gave $2 million because it's an emerging contaminant. That's a grant. Senator Collins again, along with Senator King, 3.55 million. CDBG will be $1 million. Northern Borders, which nobody's probably ever heard of. They're another organization in town that provides grant, or in the state that provides grants. That's $1 million, and in Tech Stack, $2 million. So that's where all the money's coming from this. So
To be clear, zero out there.
at this point, we're gonna, everything go out to bid. I mean, you've got wage rates, you've got price of materials, you've got some other stuff that are gonna come into play. And the take rate's gonna have an impact on it too. We get 100% of the people taking in water service, that's $600,000 to $800,000. If it goes down, that's a cost savings. But they're not gonna exclude anybody. If they want water, they're gonna get water.
And so you should know that a lot of this money is federal money, not property tax money.
Yeah.
Right.
Then they'll just pay the water and sewer district, right?
The water rates, correct. So the part of this project, the water mains going in, the services are going in, into the home, the meters are being put in, everything's being tied over to the system. And nobody's being forced to do this. So if somebody says, hey, I don't want a water service, then they don't get a water service.
So the Water Association is not a town department. It's not a town responsibility. However, they can't apply for CDBG money. So that's why it goes through the town. The town has to be the one that applies on their behalf. So that's why they're doing this meeting here. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't even be here for this type of thing. But yeah, just so you know.
Have they done a survey to all the houses to see who would and wouldn't? Because they run all that pipe and one person hooks up.
They've gone through, there's about 115 homes and
How many is total?
115 total. 80 people are interested. And out of that 80, there's probably 20 on the fence. You know, depending on the cost, how it's gonna impact them.
And so that 600,000 that you were talking was with all 115.
Correct. And those are rough numbers too.
Oh, yeah.
Those,
And does that include like homeowners up on Blaisdell Hill Road?
Yes.
So the entire path.
And Highland Heights.
yeah, and Highland Heights, all those homes.
Okay.
And we know there's people that aren't gonna hook up. I mean, it's inevitable. And there'll be somebody that doesn't hook up. They'll sell the house in 5 years. They'll want to hook up. It's gonna be about 10 grand hook up.
At the cost of the homeowner.
Correct.
Right. So this is,
Definitely
You don't-
advantageous.
we're not, how are we going to handle the cost of hooking up? Is it,
It's in the grant.
it's in the grant?
It's in the
So
project.
they get to hook up for free. Presumably that would be an improvement of their property value.
Correct.
Makes their house a little bit more marketable if they ever wanted to sell it.
Insurance rates.
Insurance.
Correct.
Yeah. And of course, it's also going to be helpful having the hydrants be closer to all the homes along those different loops.
And having Tex Tech hooked in as a fire service coming off of the water system. So right now they're pulling out of the fire pump with a fire pump.
It's a private system.
Exactly. If that goes down, they're done. Something burns, they'll be flat. This way will actually provide better water.
It will be flat. They got a good fire services.
If it went down. But there's a good fire department, so they would come in and definitely save the day. There's no doubt about that.
Would it be worth putting a stop to every house, so you're not digging up the, I'm just thinking, yeah, then we're gonna be cut back into the road after we pave it.
That's one of the things the association is gonna have to determine where they want to go. I mean, they've got a lot of decisions to make. Type of meters, if that's gonna happen. There's a lot of them.
Not that it really matters, but now they're going down like the center of the road, so it's all gonna be far up, and then if it is, when's that all gonna be fixed?
It'll be opposite lane of the sewer. So the sewer, I believe, is on the left-hand side if you're driving through town. The water will be on the right-hand side.
It'd be just like Monmouth was this past summer.
We know we gotta share the pain.
That's what it
Monmouth
is.
Center got into North Monmouth. They're with, the town's holding back on a paving project. So when this gets done, should be an overlay, so we'll try to work it out so that it works out for the advantage of the
What's your
community.
projected timeframe if all goes well with the study, the engineering? When
The engineering will be done by September, October, and then we'll go out to bid and the construction will start next year.
So it'll be the following year.
Yeah, so it'll be a 2-year. Yeah.
27 into 28.
Yeah.
3 years, it will all be done.
That's what we're looking for, yes.
People will be hooked up in 3 years.
Yes, they should be hooked up at that point.
And if they don't do it, then it'll cost them to do it later.
Correct. I mean, and it is an improvement to the house. I mean, if you have PFAS contaminated, your well's obviously a problem. You're not gonna be able to sell the house for a certain value. It's gonna go up. It's a double-edged sword. Taxes could go up because value goes up.
Would you stop?
Highly unlikely, but just we're gonna make fun of Justin. Any more questions or concerns or you have to get with Dan over the locations?
Mark?
I have a question. It seems like we talked about this over the last year or so, and we talked about the different grants, but we were talking about like a $7 to $8 million project. At what point did it zoom to 11 million?
With the materials cost, the wage rates we have to put in because you don't get a grant for nothing. So you've got to increase the wage rates. Once you add all that stuff in, the costs climb.
Well,
And then we're also looking,
Fire protection.
yeah, Tech Sec wanted fire protection, so we got to look at putting a standpipe in. So we talked to, I don't know, if they talked to you or they talked to Justin about maybe putting something out back here. Or there's a lot they own just up the road to put a standpipe in to elevate the water a little higher to get a little better pressure.
So they're paying in like $2 million.
Correct. Yeah, so
So
they,
that's there. So the biggest cost increase, Mark, is the addition of Tex fire suppression system, which is $2 million, which they are paying for.
yeah,
So that's kind of lumped into the $7 or $8 million we originally started talking about. Then the rest of the increase is just inflation.
unfortunately, yeah. So, yeah. Something we all have to deal with. But we saw it on Main Street. That was $1 million higher than it originally was proposed, so. And that was all materials costs went up that much, so.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Pick up any more of your time.
Thank you.
And I make a motion, we close the public hearing on CDBG.
So Chris has made a motion to close the hearing, public hearing, and Mark, and yes, Jan has seconded it. All those in favor?
Yes.
I'm in favor too.
Next are department reports and
Thanks, Dan.
Well, good evening. Been a little while since I've been here for department head report. Apologize, just schedule work. Big affiliate. Fire department and auxiliary this past Sunday, we did the community dinner at the Packard Center. Numbers were a little low. I think we had about 32 in attendance and about another 18 takeout dinners. For about 50 we fed. Served a nice ham dinner. Everybody seemed to like it, so that was good. It was a good field project. This past Saturday, we did the escort back into town. We had a procession for the Monmouth Mustang basketball team that won states. So that's always fun, having a cold going through town, lights and sirens, and doing the I don't know, what do they call it when they run around the bus in front of Cumston Hall?
Chinese fire drill?
Thank you. That's exactly what they call it. So they did that, and they get in the bus and they rocked the bus side to side. It's a riot, but Wade Morrell and his team did a great job. Was actually in attendance for the game. A good game. This past Monday, myself and Chief Furlan, we went to Kennebec EMA's I call it mandatory training. They came out, or EMA came out with, I don't know if it's MEMA or EMA or whatever, but in order to apply for federal grants, a lot of your department heads, even town manager, I saw a couple of town managers there. All 32 towns for the Kennebec County were represented at this 8-hour mandatory training. And I got 2 more to attend. So it's three Mondays I gotta, take time away from my regular job to go attend this mandatory training. So it's pretty tasking, but kind of tedious to sit through the presentation and go through all the scenarios. It's a lot of tabletop exercises, filling out paperwork. It's typical FEMA. There was even public works directors. I sat with Winthrop's public works director. So you can come Monday, feel my pain, sir. It's good that at least Paul and I were present on behalf of both towns, and we'll qualify if we ever have to put in for a natural disaster payments. The fire department, we had classroom training on ice cold water rescue training recently. Didn't realize it, but it's was it 3 years, Cody, or 5? Every 5 years, I guess we gotta get recertified. That's when we put on the cold wet suits, jump in the cold water, and perform ice rescues or cold water rescues with our boat. So we did the classroom portion, and we got 2 nights coming up in the month of March where we'll be doing the practical exercises, putting on I call them the Gumby suits, and jumping in the cold water.
Are they dry suits? Are they heated or what?
No, but as long as you keep it zipped up, you don't get any cold water in you, you're fine. You just float, you're pretty warm in.
So it's a dry suit,
Yeah.
with boots. Yeah. Okay.
Used them for the loon rescues, a few years ago. Our Eagle rescue, so. None this year.
It'll rescue this year.
We did the song.
yeah.
That's right on Anabasca. Right. Recently we trained with the Cocknowagan Trailblazers. He's part of that. Shaw's, and do you remember? Yeah. So we went out. We did you probably saw it in my weekly memo, but I'll share with the community that's here. We did a practical exercise. Responding to something that's 1.5 miles out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, snowmobile trail in the dark. And we partnered up with the Trailblazers. We've been doing this for a few years now, and we usually involve EMS and fire and club, because the club has a rescue boggin that they can tow behind. You get them and extricate them out of the woods or off the trail. And it was real practical exercise that many people that participated said it was so real life, because we actually had victims and they had cue cards to play the injury part, and so that they had to report their injuries to the first responders that showed up. And the Snowmobile Club members brought us in sleds. Wales had their UTV that they brought in. It was very valuable to transport equipment and firefighters. And we set up right by the transfer station at the trailhead and responded to the incident. We had a big field out in the middle of the woods. We actually had the Snowmobile Club packed down 100 by 100 foot landing zone, as if we had to bring in a helicopter for one of the critical injured. So it was a good training exercise. I'm glad we were able to do that. And I'll just say that, the UTV was very useful. I've been pitching this for a little while now, and I'll just say it's not just about, forestry firefighting, but the UTV can be used for trail rescues. And with the more introduction of trail systems in the town of Monmouth, there's more of a need for such equipment. So hopefully in the future, we can work to acquire a piece of equipment like that for the fire department. The gym next door, I didn't walk in tonight, but we stopped using it. Doug had reached out to me 2 months ago, I think. I took out some of the equipment out of there because the fire department just wasn't using it enough. So we vacated or just stopped using it. But I did reach out to Wade Morrow. Wade is interested in the remaining equipment. So if it's still there, we just need to bug Wade to get out there. I talked to him for the state basketball game. He said, actually it was before school vacation week. And he says he's interested. He just wanted to get through vacation week and basketball season. And then he's going to get his crew and come. And I guess they're going to bring the equipment across the street. So he was excited about that. He might just need help. And I told him just reach out, fire department, we get a lot of trailers and stuff, probably help. He needs to. So if it's not moved out, just let me know. And the last thing I have is the 10th annual Monmouth Beach Party. We're in the planning phase right now. This year's event is going to mark the 250th anniversary of our nation. So the community, which has grown, I'm very excited to say that we've got several new members from the community, different organizations. So that's great. It's not just the few from the fire department doing this. And we're going to have a real good show this year. So it's going to be a much bigger fireworks show. We're actually doubling the size of the show. So slightly larger shells, go up higher, maybe a bigger crown. Should be a good show, so hope you come out. And just as a reminder, it's going to be Friday, July 3rd. We're doing it on a Friday because the 4th, Windsor has their show. We tried to not interfere with theirs, and our rain date will be on a Sunday. Hopefully it doesn't. We'll be going throughout the community and beyond the community this year, soliciting donations. So if you see us or get a flyer from us, please consider donating. That's all I got, unless you guys have any questions.
Hey, we haven't talked about this in a while. Where did we leave the ISO question about our insurance rating townwide?
It increased, went to the next one number down, or however you want to say it.
Better or worse?
To the better.
Okay.
Yeah. It increased. I just never got a report from Clarity's his name.
Okay.
I did, after Mark had passed, I did reach out to him and sent him an email following up and never got a response back. But prior to that, he did say that our rate increased because what we did submit for information on fire department response.
Okay, so that's good news for anyone who's paying fire insurance.
It should be embedded based on his review that he did. It should be already in the system with insurance companies. If you live outside the hydrant district, it's slightly higher.
Right.
If you're in the hydrant district, you get a much better rate.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
You have to let your insurance company know that you've.
They should know.
They
but
should know.
Wouldn't hurt to let them know. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's within like 1,000 feet of a hydrant or something like that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony.
Yeah, I'm going short and sweet. Board's posted, already gotten several calls for exemption slips. We give those out for trash, animal byproduct, food. Other than that, it's, loggers and gravel trucks are the worst for us. There are rules that 32 or below, they're allowed to drive on the road, so it's not like they're shut right down. The forecast for next week looks much better than the last 2 weeks. Since I was last year, we had 5 more snow events, so boys are getting grumpier, which isn't good for Tony. Other than that, if anybody has any questions outside of the budget, because I'm sure there'll be some that we'll do them during the budget.
Chief's not here, but I had one of the townsfolk ask me about whether or not it's possible to have speed bumps on Main Street. And of course, that's a state road. Made sure they knew that, but I said that I would bring it up and ask the question.
So, you my quick answer.
Yeah.
There isn't enough speed bumps down through there?
Well, I know, exactly. But I know that out on, Main Street for, Plaza.
So I think I've said this in the past.
Yeah.
I'm not a proponent of speed bumps.
Okay, yeah.
They actually lead, and I can get you the information. You go over the speed bump and cars step on it. It's proven that they go faster after the bump. It's not the deterrent for speed control. We already have a deterrent for speed control.
Well, and my idea beyond that, I said I would ask the question, I asked the question.
Yeah.
But, a speed bump's not gonna come to your house at 2 AM when somebody's breaking in. So, it's not a replacement for a police officer.
So, and also, to do it right with pavement, they're expensive.
Exactly. And my only other question is, we've talked about the 25-mile-an-hour signs, which I hated from the start, the blinking one that doesn't work by the town office. And I know
So we got them through a grant.
yeah,
They're expensive.
yeah.
Do you want a blinking one?
I know. I mean, I know people have brought up the fact that, having something that either tells you your speed or those things. So those were the other things that I said that I would ask.
I believe. So there's a grant available for the dynamic speed readers.
Mhm.
I can talk to Paul about it. I believe that goes through. We have them?
We have to.
Oh, the ones that move around as opposed to stationary
Oh, true.
ones, but I'm talking about stationary ones. I know we've got the ones we can move around, so.
Like the ones you see a lot in school zones when they,
Yes.
that it tells you to either slow down or it shows you.
We had
speed.
one for Cumston Hall, and then they used it for the new school. It was gonna be permanent there. That's what we got the grant for.
Yeah,
They finagled something to move it to the school.
yeah.
Well, maybe it's worth.
I mean, that's 15 miles an hour. That's school's a total different animal than going down a state highway.
Oh, yeah.
You could just leave the water lines the way they go.
Yeah, we won't
Fine.
hopefully be doing that.
Yeah.
Get one of them in a plow truck.
Well, I noticed that they spray painted all the blue water covers and then you scraped it all. They did that yesterday and then you scraped it all up last night.
On purpose.
All the blue paint's gone today.
Wow, Mother Nature.
I know.
keeps sending us snow.
I know. But boy, it was beautiful this afternoon. So,
It's looking nicer next week, so.
62 degrees in the forecast for next week.
When was the last time we saw that?
Yeah.
October?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony.
I don't really have anything. My week's been pretty much just consumed with tweaking the budget and feedback from various groups. I'm happy to answer any questions.
We're on to select board reports.
Well, I was gonna ask, Justin, before we move too far away, how'd you make out with, the alternative auditor?
So we had a discussion. She was gonna go back and talk to the owner of the company. She thought that they might be able to help us out and, but she's on vacation until tomorrow. She was out all last week and, she's still out as of today. I think she comes back tomorrow. So hopefully I'll hear back when she gets back. Yep.
I got a call from Paul Root today from the hospital. He's fine, but under the weather. So I told him we would probably want to have him come talk to us in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
When the dust settles with his health, about the survey of that property. And we closed on that property?
We haven't yet.
Not yet, okay.
We're supposed to have, it's working through the title company right now. So as soon as they can get all the paperwork in line, we'll close, but it hasn't happened yet.
Okay. So anyway, a couple weeks and we'll have him back. He's got some interesting observations.
Any other?
Anything else?
Mr. Ackley for select board reports.
Select board report.
I had a couple things. First, I wanted to, Chief Roy already mentioned it, but the boys, high school basketball team, I wanted to make sure we recognize them for their heart attack third quarter and their great win. I know. Their heart attack third quarter, but they pulled it out and we won. So it was a great win and it is fun to watch them go around the loop and and hear all the sirens and everything. And the other thing is I have Steve Eldridge here with us tonight to give us some information about what he's been working on for the 1856 Academy project. So I wanted to have Steve go over what we've been working on.
My name is Steve Eldridge. I live at 690 Main Street. I lived here for probably 38 years. Just to bring everybody here up to date on the financials of the 1856 Academy project. We have approximately 70,000, I think, left in the pot. And we had updates from contractor Nicholson and O'Day, and gave us new numbers to get it completed, and it's just around $950,000. I've been working on grants. I'm a committee member now, but I've been working on grants, I think, since 2023. Not with much success because it's a very competitive market, and it's not even every nonprofit in the world is out there looking for money. Average grant applications, they range anywhere from 250 to 300 people looking for money. But there is a pot of money. That's why I'm here this evening. The congressional directed spending comes out of the senator or legislative branch. We just received the application last week, and it is due March 18th. And one of the things I have put together is what it would cost us to finish this project and get it off the table, which I'm sure many in the community would like to see it happen for a number of reasons. But we need $750,000 in grant money. So we can ask Colin's office for whatever we want, but we still have to have 25% for matching fund. But we also have another grant that we're waiting to completed the legislature, which is the Historic Preservation Grant, which we will qualify for. Because Kristen and I and some of the committee members made sure the language was such that we could qualify because it's in our comprehensive plan. So I had initially looked at what we needed for a total of to ask for. And the total is $750,000. In order to get 25%, we have to raise about $187,500 in money. And it can't come from other grants. It has to come from the community, it has to stand behind it. So I've asked to send something to the board to ask them if they would put a warrant article in this coming budget process to request for $187,500 for matching funds, so we could possibly receive $750,000 and we could finish this project. I finished the application for Susan Collins' office today and submitted it due in a week and a half. I asked for $500,000, and the Maine Historic Preservation Commission grant is available, which we're expecting it. May not be able, applications may not even be available until June at the rate the legislature's working. They don't expect to have voted on. It's been voted on and approved, but the Historic Preservation Department is looking for $25,000 for the next 3 years to administer it. So I don't think that'll have to be an issue. I'm hoping it won't be, but the money is available. So I wrote up a warrant article, and I'll read it to you, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $187,500 for the purpose of matching a federal or state grant of $750,000 to complete the 1856 Monmouth Academy Restoration Project. Provided the grant award is not received, we would hopefully keep the funds in the reserve account just for that until such time that we were awarded. That way, it's a one-time expense. It won't be in your budget. If it's this year, it won't be in the budget moving forward. It would be in reserve. And based on your current valuation, it would add 20 cents to the tax rate. So I think it's pretty low considering we're going to receive $750,000. And I only have to spend 187. That's still a lot of money, but you'll finish this project and get it off our plate so we can move forward. The grant money will not be available until October of 2026. That's when the federal budget gets approved and goes into place. So we're hoping Susan Collins' office. I've been in the municipal business for 25 plus years, and in every town I've worked in, Susan Collins' office has always given us money when we ask for it. So I feel very confident that hopefully the funding will be there. That will be the only thing they won't put it in, but she's been very good to the municipalities in the state of Maine. In the town of Berwick, where I worked, retired in 2021 and received a $3 million grant to improve the water district process. And at the same time, we wrote another grant request to her to help us redo the downtown. And that was close to $4 million. So she does two things for the state municipalities. So I'm hoping that this board it has to start here, that you will be willing to put this on the warrant article and let the public vote that you support it or not. Be a shame if it doesn't. It's been a hot topic in the community for and against. I think it's a beautiful building. I'm on the committee, volunteered to write grants because I love historic buildings. I live in a historic house. And it's part of the character of Monmouth and what we have here. So it's important that we maintain that and get this building into use again. We have a lot of great ideas of what we're going to use it for. And a lot of people asking when we're going to get it done so they can use it. So, any questions?
I have a few questions. It's Kayla, the select board member who's not here right now. So my first question is, do the funds have to be raised for the upcoming warrant in order to secure the grant? Or can we get the grant and then maybe raise the funds with the next warrant?
No, the money, when you submit the grant,
It does require it.
you have to show that you have the funding for the match.
Okay. And then my next question is, are there any fundraisers planned by the committee to offset these costs to the public?
The cost for the building?
Yeah, so like, are there any fundraisers in the works that are coming up to help raise those funds instead of just being from the warrant?
Here, the one-man person who has raised close to $100,000 on her own. The committee constantly is looking at ways to raise funding, but I'm not a person who can go out and create fundraising. I write grants, that's what I do. And believe me, I've sent out a lot of applications, got a lot of reviews, which is frustrating. But this is $750,000 that you're going to receive. We're putting in less than $200,000 to finish this project. It's a worthwhile effort and let the public vote on it. Get it done. So that's all.
Yeah, I just I have a few concerns with that amount due to the fact that we do have to do upgrades to one of the fire stations and where the fire department has requested possibly looking into a UTV. Is this something that the grant application process is open next year as well, or is it only open this year?
It's every year, as long as the federal government funds it. What we have in Washington now, that's a shot in the dark. You don't know what it's doing. So
But I can also say that, as we've watched the number from Nickerson and O'Day, from where we started with the number that we thought we could get by with, and then COVID happened, and there was a 40% increase, and then the number from 2 years ago to what they gave us this year to finish, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. So, that I would rather try to, do it now than as inflation and materials and, as Dan was saying about the water project, materials and labor just keeps going up and up and up. So that's the biggest part of it. So
I think from my municipal background, you need to pick off one project at a time. And this was a project that was voted on 2021. And I know I've heard the fire department is looking for a new station. I know there's money going into it this year. And I have told Kristen, and I don't know if I told anybody else, but I will offer my service.
There's money going into, it's money going into the station this year?
No, well, the roof.
Oh, for the roof, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That I would offer my services to help you raise money in this kind of capacity if need be. I'm very committed to Monmouth and what goes on here. Done it for a long time, so.
So I've got a comment. I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I know this is a huge undertaking, but the last 2 times that we've asked the voters for money for this project, they have overwhelmingly said that they are not funding any further. They've rejected both the questions that we put on asking for money. And this kind of almost brings me back to when we were trying to get an electronic sign in front of the town office a few years ago. We kept asking and asking, and the voters kept rejecting it. And I just think we're in that same situation. I understand about the grant process and trying to get it finished, but we keep asking the voters and they keep saying no. So at some point, we've got to try to come up with a different solution, I feel.
well,
I understand that, Mark, but you're also going to receive $750,000 in this ask. So you're not gonna find that pot of money in a nonprofit foundation or whatever. This comes from federal government usually, or state, but, and we're already looking to ask for money from the Historic Preservation Fund, which took some dealing with the legislature to do have the language so Monmouth could apply for it. So I think it's an opportunity that we shouldn't overlook, to let the voters decide and make sure they understand in the article that if awarded, we will have $750,000 coming our way.
Yeah, I understand that. Unless there's been some big shift in the sentiment of the whole project in town, which I don't think there has. The impression I'm getting from the taxpayers is stop spending money so our taxes don't keep going up. The only shift I've seen is more in reverse than forward. People are less apt to be spending money at this point than more inclined to spend it, is my take on what I feel going on around town.
It's 20 cents to the tax rate.
To the mill rate?
The mill rate. Okay. And that's only if the valuation that you currently have stays the same, which generally it doesn't in municipalities. It usually goes up. So
at 20 cents on the mill rate, mine goes up $236 just this year. On top of the 3,000 that we just got hit on previous year. So it sounds good when you say 20 cents, but when you do the math at the end, like 200 extra bucks is for someone that's not on board with the 1856 of the law. Oh, yeah. So the company that you guys hired to do this, you just said that you are continuing to look into them if you get the money to go further?
right now, if I say this right, they're the general contractor. They don't necessarily do the work. They hire subs to come in and do the work.
So The reason I ask that is I have one statement and I went in to see Justin to get some information. He's gonna get me the whole packet. I just haven't had time. And just looking at a 1 month bill, I'm overly dumbfounded as to even this one. Now, this is from, let me find the date, sorry. It's last year. No, it's not. Right here, it's from March 4th to April 1st, okay? Which the project wasn't even going, but I'm gonna skip all this top stuff and go down to the part that really bothers me. So you hired a contractor, you had to pay the superintendent, you had to pay a subcontractor, you had to pay another carpenter, and then a laborer. In that, you also paid, small tools, you paid $86 because I guess they couldn't get their own. They couldn't bring their own compressor, so you paid $341 for an air compressor for 1 week. Then a nail gun, air nails for all, $94. Like, if I give you a price to do a job, this should be all in there. A heater for the ground, $3,400 in April. What job needed to be done that quick where you couldn't wait a month till the frost was gone? So you threw away, let me keep going. A heater, 380,000 BTU heater, just to heat the building. Contractor doesn't have that, so we had to pay $136. A miter saw, we paid $136 for a rental of a miter saw. And then a table saw, $384 for the rental. So $4,676 got paid above and beyond anybody's wages and all that. If this has been going on since 2021, this is abuse. Like, this is crazy. This is when the project wasn't even full bore. This is when the total payment of that month was $10,200. $4,600 was total waste that should have been covered under a contractor's price. I mean, and that's just one bill that I just thought. Then we're asking for heat in the building. I had the opportunity to take a tour, and this is what the doors look like. Like, you can see more daylight around that than you can probably see through that window when the sun's out. So the town is paying, these are 2 doors, 2 outside doors, if anybody wants to see these. So we paid $1.7 million for a project that isn't even airtight, and we're heating the building. That isn't even insulated, no insulation, no sheetrock, no weather tight. And we're heating a building, and then we're just gonna ask the people for $185,000 more, so that way we can get 750 to use the same guys that were taking advantage of you for I don't know how many.
I can't speak to that. I haven't seen that bill. And
Well, who do you speak to? You said you were on the board. You're the one that approved every one of these bills.
I've been on the board as a member for maybe less than a year.
So in the last time, this was from March to April of last year. So this is why you were on the board, if I'm understanding you right. This is just one, and this is one of the last ones.
Well, the
Could you
building
imagine
isn't
for-
insulated, to answer that question, because we don't have the money to insulate it.
So, correct me if I'm
Okay.
wrong, you paid $1.2 million to revamp an outside of a building. There is absolutely nothing in the building. I personally myself see what's around town, like, I know my house, I got $300,000 in my house. And it's 10 times what that thing ever was. But you have 1.2 million. I say it's only 1.2 because of the demo was 500,000. I get that. But you got 1.2 and I'm just not seeing it. That's why I wanted to go in. I'm like, well, where did this money go? And now you want another 185 to get to the 900 from taxpayers to throw into, and there's no way if you have that for 1.2 million that you're gonna finish it with this company for 900.
We've actually brought that up at our meeting, and
Which part?
the part that we better start using local contractors.
Mm-hmm.
And we have really looked into that already. But you are right, and I'm on the committee.
Yeah.
And you know, I went along with the architect and the Nickerson O'Day, because I figured, you know, they're contractors, they know what they're doing. But I do agree with you on a lot of your points. We're better off maybe just hiring local people to do the job and to get it done.
But it took wasting $1.2 million to get to that point.
I think you'll find that the steeple cost a lot.
That
To
was
get that-
unnecessary in the project to get it to be closed up and rented,
No,
whatever.
I agree.
That could have been done at a later time with funds, grants and whatever.
And one of the biggest problems we had is, and Dawn, I wish Dawn were still alive, but Dawn Hodgson is very, very critical about taking care of the bricks, because if we don't take care of the bricks, then it's all dust, you know? So, moisture is a big, big problem. And that's why we had to heat it. And Nickerson O'Day was supposed to insulate around those doors, and they didn't do it. And I'm as upset as you are.
They're probably gonna
truly am.
charge you for a knife to cut the insulation.
Well, yeah, you're right. And I agree. And on the committee, I've said, I think what we need to do is go with local people, because they're coming from up in Bangor. And also, I think we need to just do what we have to do to get a certificate of occupancy.
Which brings me to the next thing that we brought up 2 weeks ago, that, so once it turns over and becomes a building, now it becomes a constant burden on taxpayers for heat, maintenance, people running it, and it's another Cumston Hall. It's just, it's not designed to make money is what people keep on saying. I mean, nobody knows what the number is, because everybody got upset when we started throwing out numbers 2 weeks ago. So whatever the number is, it's never gonna make that much and pay for the 187,000, the 1.2 million. It's never going to make money, never. So and if it's one of them,
Hall doesn't make money or what?
it makes 20,000, according to their budget this year, it made $20,000 last year. So the taxpayers paid $155,000 for their budget. But then also there's another $10,000 that they asked for that doesn't go on their budget. It goes into a different department. Kind of shady way of their 2%, not making their 2%, that the board asked everybody's budget to stay at 2%. So, everybody else did a good job. Now this one has a zero budget and you're asking for 185,000. That's 185,000% increase when everybody else had to stay at 2% in the town. Tony had to stay at 2 or around as close as he could to 2%, the police department, and now an 1856 building that everybody voted over and over to not put any money, just wants to go up 187,000%. It's just,
As a resident of the town, I think Cumston Hall adds a lot to the value of the real estate and the attractiveness of the town for.
I'm just
people
stating the
move there.
facts of it, and
And I
that's going
think
to
the
be.
same goes with that, and that
Mr.
works
Chair,
with the
Mr. Chair,
fairgrounds.
Mr. Chair, can we restore order and have the chair recognize the conversation so that every,
Hand and got red.
that's fine, that's fine. We're talking over each other, and there may be some other folks who want to speak. So let's just have
I
the chair
appreciate
run.
all you're saying about this project. I mean, we had a guy, Steve Brown, who was a contractor, who was on the committee, who was, I was hoping that he would see the stuff that you're seeing and maybe call it out as you have.
There's actually one more
We
variable.
did a walkthrough in December and all those things have been noted and they're on a punch list.
I did do that.
We did a walkthrough in December
Yeah.
with Nickerson and O'Day, and all of those things are on a punch list.
Okay.
And
So
those are
we don't
going
wait
to
till
be
after heating
corrected.
season?
Well, I mean, there's only so much I can do other than driving up there and getting them and bringing them down myself.
Okay.
So, they are going to make good on that. I'm reach out to them and speak to them on a regular basis.
Dennis, can I wait? Can you wait?
Absolutely, yeah.
You wanted to say something?
So obviously some good research has been done and Larry is in agreement with that. And Larry's been on this committee for a long time, who has a deep respect and a big involvement in historic buildings and seeing them brought back. For instance, the Center Church steeple was an awesome project. I mean, Larry's proven to be a very dedicated citizen to keep these valuable, priceless buildings in shape. I'm just really getting frustrated with this constant attack on the building. It's good to identify problems. That's great. Larry's agreeing with that. But every time we come here, it's all about attacking it. That's not going away. It's gonna stay there, just like we're about ready to talk about the transfer station. That's not going anywhere either, and that's not going anywhere. So let's start talking about how we are gonna finish it, like this gentleman's trying to do, instead of picking it all apart. If we've identified some issues, great. Let's hire local contractors if that's gonna make the difference. But let's stop trying to tear it down while it's standing.
And Dennis,
Yes, sir.
you should come to one of our meetings. I think there's one on Monday for this project. And to talk about this kind of stuff that you see, because I mean, I'm on the committee with Chris and with Dr. Bougie and Steve, and I don't know, I'm a school teacher, I don't know all that stuff. So
Can I even add to it? Do you know anything about mold? Well, we're gonna talk about the mold that's all through that basement there that's got boarded up and forgotten about. So that's not being remitted. It's like, so now you want to remodel a building that has mold in it. Like,
yeah, and
nobody's addressing that.
The mold will be addressed. And that will, those are all part of the.
It's part of the
That
discussion.
Yeah.
talk to the committee about it, okay?
Do I talk to the committee about blowing the back wall out and turning it into a salt shed so he can get his salt shed? For 1.7 million? Everybody's happy. He gets his salt shed. No more burden on the taxpayers. We're good.
Hey, Brian.
So, I mean, like, how confident would you be that you could ensure that this would be done for the 7?
For that money?
Yeah.
I'm very confident.
Well, that's what we heard about with the first grant. So now,
We never got a grant.
well, the first round of funding from the taxpayers.
The bond.
And then, and I know it's gonna go up 20 on the mill rate, but then what's the mill rate gonna be when it's finished?
I can't tell you that. The mill rate, once it's completed, depends on what they do with it. So let me just remind you that municipalities aren't in business to make money. It's a great thing if we can, but they don't make money. And they have the responsibility of taking care of buildings and property that they have. Just like a sidewalk, I mean, how long has it been since we've taken care of our sidewalks? It's been years. I hear you want a new station. Are you planning for that?
Brian.
Well, these are things that I feel is what I used to do is we had a program that we looked at these kinds of things and how we were going to get them done, how much they were going to cost. And unfortunately, the more time you put off, the more expensive things become. And then that's unfortunate, but I'm just looking at, this is a good way to get this building done, get it off our plate. You get it done right. I think that's very important. And then we can move on to whatever the next project in town is.
And so you know what he's talking about. He's been a town manager in Etna.
Everywhere.
Then in,
My last job was in the town of Berlin for 6 years.
then in Rumford,
Rumford, Green,
then in Lisbon
Lisbon, Green.
and Berwick.
Yep.
So you've been a town manager all over the place. Plus you've filled in for like Winthrop and Farmington.
Lisbon's open again, so you can.
Lisbon's open again, so you can go back there.
Okay.
Gardner's open.
I see.
My wife is sitting there and she won't let me go back. But I have a final question. There's no guarantee with federal FEMA.
No, there isn't.
So my question on that would be, if the town was to put it on the warrant and the town was to pass it and you get the 187,000, what happens if you don't get the grant? Where does that money get set aside for?
It gets set aside, so we would have it available for the following year or.
It would just go into your account?
The general fund.
It just goes into the general fund and put aside.
It would be there for us to apply again to
Yeah.
have the matching.
It wouldn't be there for us to do the work on the building. It would be in reserve, used just for matching funds. That's a stipulation.
I just don't want to come across on the warrant that it's almost like a guarantee that you're gonna get it.
It even says in the warrant article, provided that the total grant is received. And if it's not awarded, then it stays in the reserve account until such time a grant would be awarded. That needs to be made very clear to the public. It's not funding that's going to be used until we get grant money.
So
The only way you can only way you can change the purpose of a reserve fund is to go back to the people who created it, which in this case would be the town meeting. So if at some point the grants were never going to happen and people want to give up on it, they'd have to go back to the town meeting and authorize that reserve fund to be either expended or used for some other purpose. Does that answer your question?
So you're saying if we get the 750, you're not spending the 187,000?
No, that will be part of what we spend, but
It's not just to get it.
not
it's
just to get
also
it,
fund
it's
it.
strictly for matching funds.
You said previously, you said not to fund the project, but to get the grant money.
Yeah, once we have the grant, that money will be used as part of the project. It shows a commitment from the town, finish it, or to the 750,000.
Well, I mean, it's very similar to what we talked about with the water project. And luckily, Tex Tech gave you $2 million as the matching funds, which is huge. I've yet to find somebody that could give me that kind of money. I've been very fortunate with $10,000, $15,000 from townspeople, $1,000, $50, but, you know, and I tried to write grants before Steve did. That's not my forte, but thank goodness Steve came along to help with these because he's turned over lots of rocks things that I wouldn't have been able to know about or know how to accomplish, so.
Brian?
I appreciate that, and I appreciate, the buildings and everything. I know I've only like 10 years. But I mean, just by the time I'm your age, my property taxes will have paid for that building. I'll have paid that much.
How old do you think I am?
I mean, my taxes would be $7,000 just last year.
Justin.
I mean, I don't know anybody that else.
How much?
7,000 in a single year. And so, but now, you know what I mean? It just keeps.
They went up.
Generally speaking.
So now I'm paying like $15,000 a year.
Says that.
And, by the time we're just gonna get there, my changes are gonna be like $30,000 soon.
And you've come in afterwards.
We're gonna go
You've
back to
instructed
the
me, and you come into the office after.
Hold on.
I
I
mean,
would
too.
just say that it could be something that you want to, that you would instruct me to put it on
Okay.
that for consideration.
I hope you'll support. That's all
I have one question. I'm agreeing with Mark that, the last couple of times we put financial expenditures on voters that people have been pretty skeptical about putting more money in. Is it possible that any of the money we've already spent could be used as a matching?
No.
We've asked that specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible that we could ask the voters for this, but without putting it in reserve? So if we ask the voters to fund this, I mean, it's an impressive return on investment. I mean, that's the thing, right? $180,000 to get 750, that's easy money, right? I'm wondering if maybe we could say, fund the $187,000. If we get turned down, then we'll put that money, we will not spend that money. We won't put it in reserve. We'll ask again. Right? If we don't get the grant, right? If we don't get the grant, then the money goes back into the undesignated fund balance or whatever. Yep. That might be a way to go about it so that we're always sort of checking with the voters before, I mean, the building's going to sit there. We have a $1.5 million investment in that building. If we, simply put it in a reserve fund and then keep trying, that seems to me to be heavy lift. If we ask the voters and they say yes, but we don't get the grant, seems to me like we don't get the grant, we should put it back, give it back to the voters and
It's up
then
to you.
ask again.
As to where would you put it?
Oh, it just wouldn't be spent. It would go back to the, we call it the undesignated fund balance, a savings account,
So you
basically.
can get a new roof.
Well, that's gonna be a separate question. And the voters,
Technically could.
by the way, the voters are gonna vote on that too. And I also think that it's kind of a false, it's a little crazy to only count the $20,000 that Cumston Hall made last year, because we're not charging for what the space that the library takes up. That's free.
Right.
Right? That doesn't go on the books. But if we had to rent space for the library, then that would be on the books, right? It's free library space. We don't count for all the public meetings and things that we have in Cumston Hall. We don't count for all of the taxes that are generated when people come to Monmouth to go to the theater and they spend at local businesses. So I hear you wanting, and I'm a business person and I understand that we're needing to, show profitability of what we can, but there's a lot of hidden profitability in Cumston Hall that goes uncounted and has for 100 years. That would be my point on that.
I think Kayla has a question. Kayla.
Okay.
Thanks. I'm in favor of getting this building or having this building get finished. I really am. But my concern is that there's already talk about removing demo from the transfer station because, the scale's 100,000 and then asking for this much money from the townspayers. And I believe, I heard that our county taxes are going up. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Justin, but, I'm just concerned about requesting this much more money from the townspeople after everything we've gone through the last year and with, the school budget's definitely going up a little. And so I think we do have a few more weeks to decide if it goes on the warrant, correct? Could we possibly bring this back to the committee and ask them, what ways they are looking for alternative revenue streams, such as like, if you do have certain fundraisers planned for the future and what you're hoping to make for those, just so the townspeople can see that, you're not just only relying on this funding from the town.
I think the big thing with fundraisers, like Steve said, I'm a one-man band, and I was fortunate that we made around $3,700 with the raffles and the Gary Crocker show. But that was, a summer's worth of me pounding the pavement and putting that together, plus Gary Crocker, an alumni, offering to do the show for free. So, it would take me a really long time at $3,000 a pop to raise $187,000. That
I'm not expecting fundraisers to raise that whole amount.
Yeah, and just to explain to you about
show
what's
like a
going
good
on in the
faith.
fundraising world, the foundations. The Alphont Foundation has been a very generous foundation throughout the state. They aren't taking any more applications right now, and they haven't for over a year. The Libra Foundation is another one who has put a hold on any applications for more funding. And those are big ticket companies that give you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're not taking applications. So that gives you an idea of how tight these foundations and nonprofits are when it comes to trying to get grant. And there's plenty of them out there, but they also are plenty of people that, if you know anybody that works in the nonprofit business, trying to generate funding, they'll tell you the same thing. Okay? It's up to them what they would like to do. That's why they get paid the big bucks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, does minimum wage law apply to being on the select board?
No.
Yes.
Just in response, I'm not against Cumston Hall. I'm against Cumston Hall's budget going up and up and up without, or I shouldn't say going up and up. I'm putting on there that it only went up X%, but then asking for $10,000 in a different place. And I'm just, again, I'm not against Cumston Hall. I've learned in this town, you don't go against Cumston Hall like this. just one of them things, you just don't go against. I'm against having more buildings like Cumston Hall, which is a burden on site. After it's that one, he just said, then we move on to the next project. The next project that's gonna be a constant burden to the taxpayers. I mean, we're a small town, how many more? I'm not against Cumston, I really want to state that. I didn't want to come across it, I was using it as an example of what that's gonna turn into.
Well, Hudson Hall is like a boat. It's a hole in the water that you pour money into, right? That kind of thing, because it's constantly needing, it was built 120 years ago or so, right? And
1899, over June 20th.
1899, so it constantly needs.
I've been there 4 times in the last week to get a tour of it, to see what everybody's talking. The only place I've been is upstairs when you had that meeting there. I wanted a tour of it to see what the hype is all about, but I can't even find anybody to give me a tour in the time that I have available during the day.
Well, but Dennis will give you a tour. If you,
Oh, yeah,
if you
I've
can
left
make
him a
it
message.
when he's there,
Yeah.
he will give you a
And
tour.
I've only done it for a week, so I'm not saying he's not. I'm
Yeah,
just saying
no,
that I'm trying to find out more about what.
And I think just our only concern is honestly, we're looking at fire department's, building itself and, their fire engine and Tony's needs. And there's just so many, I think, some big ticket items that are just gonna keep coming up shortly down the road. And again, our mill rate's gonna be 20 again before we know it. I think that's a major concern about putting more on that we don't actually need than stuff we actually need.
Just to put on your town manager hat, tell them that it costs money to run a town.
It does.
Go up along with wages and benefits.
The only thing I do want to clarify is, Dennis, is that I think you're referring to the $10,000 that's in the reserve fund. The reason it's not in the operating budget is because you can't save money in the operating budget. So if we're trying to put money away for a future expense, it has to be it has to be asked for as a separate question. Otherwise, at the end of the year, it falls back into the fund balance. So it's not,
I understand
the
it.
town's not deliberately trying to.
It should fall under his budget, his percentage for the 2% that you asked everybody to stay under.
Well, you could calculate it that way, but this isn't part of operating Cumston Hall. Technically, this is a future reserve fund for expenses. We do it for the police department equipment. We do the same thing for the fire department. We do it for the reval, even though we just had a reval. The plan is to put, $10,000 away so that in another decade when we have to do it, we don't have to have it hit the tax rate or take it out of fund balance. So this is just for future planning. I mean, you could erase all of those reserve funds and Cumston Hall would still operate just fine. It's just the next time that there's some major capital improvement, we won't have any money and we'll have to drop it on the tax rate to fix the boiler or something like that. So it's just trying to plan for the future.
And I get it.
Okay. Yeah.
I do, I get it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a savings account.
Yes, it is. It's a safe. Exactly.
Mark, Kayla, do you have anything that you want to talk about?
No, just to finish up on that topic, I think Chris has done an awesome job at fundraising. And I know there's a bunch of people in town that are passionate about this building, but I wish they would get on board. And if everybody could do what Chris has done, then they'd have a big old pile of money to draw from. We got to somehow motivate these people that are interested in this project to come out and fundraise and help.
Well, it's like any organization, like Mark, when you ask for a work day at the Fish and Game, you get the same people each time. And
got 300 members and 6 people come.
That's right. And so those are the things, because everybody's busy with their own life and their own schedule, and we make commitments about other things. And I'm happy to have the support that we have on this board. We miss Dawn tremendously. Steve Brown has been a godsend. And I will say that, Nickerson and O'Day operated on time and materials. That's how the billing was done. So, it was put out to bid. They were the people that we interviewed, and with our architect, it was a choice, and I can say that they have had a huge turnover in their company with their supers and people in charge of the job. So we've dealt with that like everybody else, having turnover and not having the consistency of the same person from 3 years ago to today. And, you know, it's an interesting time. And what went on during March of last year is they were working on that bell tower. It was being fabricated in their building in Brewer. So they were building it off-site. And then we had volunteers that brought it down here. So we had a volunteer that brought his fifth wheel trailer and one-ton vehicle and brought it down here. So, you know, it's been a lot of things going on off-site because that was all built off-site and then transported here.
I'd just like to add too that I think you're right. We can do a lot as a community if we get together and work on it. Jim Hopkins put a nice area of excavation there where water will drain off that building. And he did a wonderful job and he donated all of that. Don Hodgson's donated a lot towards that. Steve Brown donated a lot of his time and materials and things. So we can do a lot. And I think maybe we did depend too much on Nickerson O'Day. And I can understand their corporation are making money, but we can do a lot if we really do it as a community and get in and work on it. So I agree with you, and I'd like to have you come to our meeting and we can talk about that.
I don't know, they come to this meeting. Are you guys able to like maybe invest the money that you have so it can grow faster?
Well, that's town money, so
Oh.
it's town money. It's, you know, all the checks come in made out to the town of Monmouth. They don't come in made out to Chris Sanborn. So it's not like I've got a high yield savings account with that money sitting in it. No, it comes.
Fundraise or whatever, could you use that money to put it into a quantum stock or something like that that grows 50% a year?
That is, you know.
My IRA last year, so. You know, like.
That is.
Make money with money, that's.
Well, I get that, but the money comes in and goes into
Even donations go.
all the town. They don't come in. I might receive things, but they're all made out to the town of Monmouth because that is not a good look.
I didn't know if 1856 had in.
No,
No,
it is a town-owned
it's not
building.
set up as a nonprofit or anything.
It
It's
is a
it's
town-owned
it's a
building.
I thought it might have been a.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Next is public comment.
I'm gonna wait for Tony's budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
On to,
Hang on, let me check my list.
on to consider the changes to the transfer.
Hold on, Doug. Cool. Wait, nope, never mind. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That one question, which,
More than one.
so. I didn't realize Doug was on the 1856 committee, but you are as well. So you two are on a committee that's asking and then coming to the select board and being the person that votes whether it goes on a warrant. There's no conflict of interest in that?
No.
No?
They appoint committee, all the committees in this town outside of the planning board and the board of appeals are ad hoc committees. They serve at the pleasure of the select board. They can remove members, put them on at will. They're allowed to serve on them if they so wanted to.
It's a town committee. Yeah, it's a town committee. And it's open to the public.
I get that, but the people who are asking for the money are the ones that are putting it on the warrant. So like if it was people that weren't on the committee, they would be more apt to say, I'm gonna be here to represent the people and not spend money and keep the hand on the table. Where you're on a committee that's looking for the money, I can tell you which way the hands are gonna go.
Originally, I was just coming to the meetings. And finally, I guess to get a quorum, maybe every time, I asked, or suggested I should maybe join the committee, so.
Well, I mean, and every committee has a representative from the select board on, you know, Kent on the Trails Committee, you know.
Right, but when they vote, shouldn't that person?
No, the municipal, they do not tell you that you have to abstain, so.
Those committees are select board committees, so they
Yes.
create them, they can disband them, they make the rules for them.
Okay.
Outside of the committees that are set up either under statute or by town meeting. In this town, the only ones that are set up by statute is the Board of Appeals and the Planning Board. So these select board members cannot serve on those because those are quasi judicial committees set up under state statute. Every other committee this town has been set up by this board. So they can serve on them at will or appoint and remove people at their pleasure.
Thank you for your unwilling knowledge, John.
And before we move on, I should give you a quick update with the Trails Committee. Thank you for reminding me of that. I did not get a chance to do it, but they did go through a walkthrough with something like 6 or 7 contractors. Seven? Okay. For the trail that is out for bid right now.
And there was a new one this week that emailed me that missed the walkthrough but is interested in bidding, so they've got the information. So maybe.
So we'll have 8 bidders maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
And when does that due? When do you call the due date?
I can't.
Late March?
I can, yeah, it's something like, I can look if you want to know, I can look.
Well, no,
I just can't
the
remember.
specific date doesn't matter. It's coming in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, few weeks.
Next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then the committee will be working with Justin to review the bids and decide who they want to go with.
My apologies, I'm sure it's been discussed in previous meetings. What trail system would this be?
This is the all persons trail that's behind the high school.
Oh, yes.
That's being paid for mostly with state money. Costs the town about $10,000, and the school is chipping in about $10,000, and the state is paying $200,000.
And,
So-
but with your grant, they allow you to accept in-kind donations.
Correct.
And that is not, you're not able to accept in-kind donations with the congressionally directed spending. You can't take in-kind donations because we've had, all of the, tree removal and all of that. We can't count that. Anything that's been donated, we can't count that. And those were all things that we asked. So we've had tons of in-kind donation, but you can't count that towards congressionally directed spending, so.
And those don't appear on your books either in terms of the $100,000 that you've been able to raise.
Yep.
So you're not getting credit for that. Really.
Yep.
That'll be a good project, and that's probably,
Yeah.
it should happen this summer, the trails, right?
That's the hope. Will depend on
Hopefully.
contractors are available.
Yeah.
And when. But to have a choice of 8, I think we'll probably find one that
Yeah,
is,
hopefully, yeah.
yeah.
Then on to changes in the transfer station fee schedule.
You're on.
So I guess, how do you want to do this?
Talk about the easy stuff first.
You want me to
Just
just
changes to
read down
prices that you
through
use.
this, or-
Well, you've approved most of the items that are on here previously, so we can go through those again if you want, or we can just move into the ones that we were tasked with reviewing that had to do with demo, if you want to keep demo as, bulky waste demo, whatever you want to call it. If you want to go through those, this would be our cut at trying to give fees that are somewhat reasonable, considering the cost of the town, if you want to keep demo in the first place. So this is just part of that conversation. If you'd like Tony to go through all of it, we can do that, or if
Just
you
read them all so that everyone gets a chance to.
Okay.
Not everyone was here the first time that we covered the
You're not
price list.
snowed nuts, you know?
Yeah, Tony wants to go to sleep.
All right, so previously voted by the board to change the tire pricing. It's 234, 246.
246.
So all tires now are gonna be $5. We're not gonna take anything over a 22-inch tire. We're not taking truck tires. We're not taking equipment tires. If it has a rim on it, it's $8. Most of them show up no rim. Items containing Freon, air conditioners, $20 other appliances such as refrigerators or freezers will be $25. We have to evacuate the Freon before we send them. We're trying to cover that cost. Metal staying free, you know, you bring a stove, a dishwasher, hunk out steel, whatever we throw in the bin, that's all free. Brush is household brush only, not commercial. That's free. Propane tanks are, less than a 20-pound tank, $5, a 20-pound tank, which is a normal barbecue one, will be $10. We're not gonna take, bigger than 20. We can't get rid of them. So this is where the changes start. Bulky items, $20 per item. So a chair, you bring a chair, it's $20. I don't care if it's this chair or Ian's lazy boy. Mattresses, you've heard me talk about mattresses ad nauseum. So box springs and mattresses, we're just gonna go flat, $30. Yeah, so I was at a trash meet today. I'll share some of the excitement with you. Mattresses show up. The weight. So a mattress weighs 30 pounds. Sits out in the rain for one day, one rainstorm, it's about 120 pounds. So you paid $5 to get rid of your 20-pound mattress. And you know how it is. It rains every time I got a pound mattress is out there. So the cost for us to get rid of that demo is not cost effective. So now we're gonna go right into the demo pile. Sure everybody's familiar with the old pricing schedule. I understand that thought was put into it. It boils down to we're trying to cover every single item. Oh, this is that. And so Joe is my foreman at the transfer station. We're dealing with what's this, what's that? Oh, I only paid this last time. That. Joe paid $5. He brought his, it was $5. Why is mine $6? So we're trying to eliminate that. So we're just gonna go to a flat fee based on your body of your truck size. So a 5-foot body on a truck, set cost. Now, you show up with an SUV, too bad, it's a small truck. You show up with a battery car that's got a back seat this bad, too bad, that's just, we can't have, a list of every vehicle. So we're going by the body length, 5-foot body is 35, a 6-foot body, which is a typical pickup truck, crew cab, 6-foot body. 7-foot bodies on some of them, $45. Normal pickup, regular pickup, old school one that I grew up driving, no bet, just a cab and a body, 8-foot, $50. Trailers, we're gonna go charge by the foot. So I gotta buy Joe a couple tape measures. It's $15 a linear foot for the trailer based on 3-foot high. How did we come to this? Justin and I were up at JV Cog had a big group discussion of all kinds of transfer station and trap dumps. They made a spreadsheet of what each one's charging. Now, we don't have the benefit of the scale. Scale's simple, they go so much per pound. This is what it is. We don't have that. So we got grouped together with all the towns like us. All we did was go, this is what the average is for everybody in Kennebec County. That's where we went. We didn't go to the top. We're certainly not gonna go to the bottom. I had to start somewhere, so we went median. Insulation, so we've had some battles with insulation. People, it used to say it was $10 a bag, but if you show up with a trailer, It was $20. Well, the trailer would be full of, insulation, not bagged. Very difficult for our employees. And then it gets wet, weighs way more, you know what it's like to mess with that stuff, blows around. We have guidelines about transferring and, pulling trash, so now you gotta bring it, has to be bagged, period. Not bagged, they're not taking it, it's $10 a bag. Shingles, another problem. We've been charging $100 a load, which is about a third of what it should be. So half ton pickup or a single extra trailer, we're going to $200. Anything over a half ton, $300 or 2 extra. So shingles, as we know, very, very heavy. We did go to, sometime last summer. We used to have a bin where you could just dump the shingles. Now that became very labor intensive for us. Yes, we had a loader, but it's still time and material and we're using our equipment to put it over in the demo bin. Well, why don't we just have the customer throw it in the demo bin? Save us all time, money. So we've moved to that. Monitors, televisions, all of that, $8 a piece. Fluorescent lights, those are free. We have an excellent program. So fluorescent lights doesn't cost us. We box them up in a square box. What do they take? 22 dozen bulbs of the full fluorescent. We get 8 or 10 boxes. We call the recycler. They send FedEx, they pick it up. So very easy. That's one of the things that, you know, trying to help keep the community clean, because those, you can't throw those, you can't break them, you can't throw them in the trash. Something we really need to help people out with. Car batteries, which, okay, this one befuddles me. You go buy a battery, paying a core charge. Why wouldn't you take it back in and get $5 back? So if you're gonna bring it to us, it's gonna cost you $8. Once again, we have to truck them. It's not free.
Yeah, sure, if it's completely dead, you wanna save it.
Yeah, well, they save it till it's leaking and.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where we are at the fee. I can give you, for the budget, I'll give you an update on where we are on the scale info.
Before you go there, can we dispose of this? Are there any comments on this from?
Yes.
Dennis.
So these people are voting whether them take charge or whether it goes away altogether.
No, this,
That's just demo.
this is there's
So
all
that's not
kinds of
including
layers
demo.
to this. This we're trying to implement ASAP.
Right,
March 1.
but that's considered demo.
I'm sorry.
And all the other fees.
Okay.
And then all the other stuff.
So, but if demo goes away altogether,
Then those fees,
and that doesn't need to go to a vote, that is the board that decides whether demo goes away.
I believe,
Technically,
Apples and oranges.
looking at the ordinance, technically, I believe you guys have the authority to do that, whether you want to or not is a.
What I'm saying is,
my question.
okay, so I didn't realize till today that these guys are down to 2 guys at the dump. That's a lot of work for them to run around to bring in nickel and dime this, nickel and dime
we're
that.
only 2 guys on Wednesdays with 3 on the weekend.
Still, okay, but it's a lot.
That's 33% increase. That's a lot of, and our best worker is the one that works weekends.
So what I'm getting at is basically, if they decided to get rid of demo altogether, does it save any money, or is that paying 100% of what comes in and goes out?
There's no way we're covering one.
So if they decided to get rid of it, we're saving taxpayers money
Oh, yeah. Yes.
and saving these guys labor.
Right. So, only way that we're gonna cover all the costs is
Give us cash.
scale.
Yeah.
And you pay, so I find out that it costs me $200 a ton to get rid of that, you know, including trucking, you have to include everything. Then We figure that out, that's so much fun, that's what you're paying, so you're paying the full freight of what it is to get rid of that. Yeah.
So if you got rid of demo, your percentage would actually be below the 2%. You'd be the hero of the town.
Oh, now you're making me dig.
All right.
I'm just thinking of numbers and saving them.
While he's digging, is there any feedback on these prices? Because we can dispose of this quickly.
Sounds fair. I think you should move forward with them and not belabor it anymore. Thank you.
How much for
My
leads?
God.
Free.
Okay,
Really?
so
In the 20-foot.
on the the two different budgets that I got. If we keep demo in, and this does not count buying a scale, we haven't, I still have a lot to tell you on the scale front. Where the transfer station is at a 26% increase. And that's not all demo. I went through the trash. So trash has gone up, $34 a ton for us, so that's a huge piece of the increase. Okay? If we get rid of demo, I'm down 11% on transfer, so that'll put my public works budget just under the 2%. I do now.
Thank you.
Before we go to the details of how that works out in the two different budgets that we proposed to voters, I make a motion that we accept these price increases.
I'll second that.
Full the motion by Ken, second by Chris, to approve the new fee schedule for the transfer station. All those in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that's disposed of.
Hey, can I,
Is that in effect on Saturday?
well.
How soon do you want to do it?
Because I gotta get signs.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, I don't, somehow this showed up at the transfer station. Calling you out.
I went on Saturday to dispose of my tires because I knew the Friday they had been approved.
Whenever you guys can do it.
So we will expedite this. I gotta get signage up. We should have signage up for a week, I would think, to be fair. I mean, I would want to be fair.
We'll get it.
And by the way, speaking of changes, how's the sticker thing going?
Joe?
It's tough.
What are you gonna do?
It is what it is.
Yeah, I heard a lot of
It's a
swearing, a lot of F you, fun. I like to see that
You want all
happen. Nothing new.
Are they better
Not mad at me.
at putting it on their vehicle?
I did find one in the driveway today that I held on to. Will say be on the window. So 1155, wherever that is, I'm gonna have to track them down, tell them I have their sticker.
I'll have you that information by 8 o'clock.
And that's why they go on the window.
And just in case we have new people listening in online, you're supposed to have a sticker, you get it at town hall, it's supposed to be on your window,
That's your plate.
matching your plate.
'Cause
And
it's,
this ensures that there are no unauthorized out-of-town people disposing of cousin Larry's.
So
25 mattresses.
another update on just on the stickers. So people registered, my registration isn't, I don't do it till November. Well, just because this is the way we've done it,
Yes.
they go by the year. They're not by your registration year. Our stickers, this is what I inherited, that you have a 25 sticker, you have a, so now we're on 26. You don't have to register your car to get a sticker. The sticker's free. You just have to go to the town office.
With you.
Here's your license plate number. This is where I live. Here's your sticker. It's really that simple.
Yes.
No one's,
You know,
no one's there to check up on your registration status.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be written up clear.
Yeah, you gotta prove that the car is registered in the town of Monmouth.
No, but they gotta know that.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
that, you know, for years, it went by the paper cards that you got when you registered your car. So everybody has that in their mindset, that that's how it still works. And the fact that now we're going on a yearly, you know, January 1 to December 31st sticker is a new mindset and a new learning curve, even though we've had stickers for a couple of years. It just is a different process.
Next year on
So,
January 2nd, there'll be a line around
yeah.
4,000 people.
Yes. There's stickers. So my only question, does Wales have a different color sticker? No, they're the same colors.
They just
But
have,
they
they have their
just-
numbers.
And they come to Monmouth to get a sticker, or can they get them in Wales?
We took them 1,000
Okay,
stickers
so that's how they're getting
and
it.
they're,
Okay,
they're doing the same thing.
perfect. All
Tony,
right.
a dirty wood. I mean, it's not on there.
All right.
That
demo.
It's, yeah.
It's demo.
Yeah, we got it. It's, you come with a pickup truck, it's.
So many feet, 30, 40, and 50.
So you got a regular, you got my pickup truck, cause I'm really nice and let you borrow it. It's gonna show up $40. And that demo would cost, that's very expensive for
To
us,
chip it and haul it away.
just to get it chipped.
If it's only 3 foot high. If it's 6 foot high, it's double that.
Yeah.
Well, we might get to that. We'll see what kind of spot. Just to, while I got it fresh in my mind, the scales. Okay, so you think we'd be able to find where the capping is on the transfer station? You think we'd have a file somewhere? We spent a day in the Public Works garage looking through everything there. I went down, I spent 2 hours with Lori going through all the property cards. Dave thought there might be a map. We went through all the maps and we said, well, it could have got put in the wrong slot. So let's just do it. So, no luck. So I'm down to my last option is call DEP. Now I love calling DEP. They're very nice. The cap, where's the cap on the?
Where we- Yeah.
Where did it
Up
get?
by the building.
No, it's a lot bigger than.
Well, it comes down probably 2/3 of the way towards the gate.
Yeah, and does it go to, how far to the
How about
right?
down low?
It doesn't go far to the left, it goes a little farther to the right.
Yeah, well, so the right's that's the problem.
How about Herb Whittier?
Yeah, Herb, no, we tried Herb.
Okay.
That's it.
Usually the first call.
So I had a very good discussion with that, so we have a closed landfill guy. He's in charge, he'll show up, inspection. Joe calls me, hey, got a problem, DEP's here. That's been good.
Yeah.
He goes, here's the issue, please fix this, we fixed it. So he's looking, 2 days ago, he started looking, so this may take a while to even figure out where or if we can put a set of scales down there. So that's, I'm kind of, I think we just need to bump that piece back off right now.
Yeah, we don't think we can have an
I
answer
don't
and
think,
then
I
get
don't think
you
I can have an answer, right, before the town meeting.
yeah, before April, before you have to make a decision.
Warren. Yeah.
We don't have enough time to do it, to do all the research.
Left front side, you're gonna end up.
Well, that's the problem, so it's not like, so if we end up on the left, now that's all grass.
Right.
Now we gotta build a road. So we're not talking $120,000 for scale. Now I'm building a road, we have to change the whole layout. Oh, no, now we gotta move the fence, it's just, and it can get, every step costs more money. Just, I'm trying to just get you, this is what the facts are, you guys tell me what you want us to do.
I have a idea. So when people come into the transfer station, I feel like there should be like a shack with an attendant in there. That way they can make sure that people that are coming in actually belong there. They can price the load right there before they go in and offload it. You're like, oh, I don't have money, or,
So they should be armed.
yeah. And then they can like basically pay before they even enter. You can have a spot where they can go through if it's just house trash. You can check the sticker and they can go through, so they don't have a load, they're not like waiting in the line. Cause I feel like there's a lot of contractors abusing the transfer station. Like and we're paying for it.
I can donate a shed.
Yeah.
Actually, so we've had this discussion. Is the
Yeah.
little, the banners there, Thompson Hall that they're trying to get rid of, so.
Yeah.
One of them actually would
Be perfect.
work,
Yeah.
you know, the issue that, now the issue we have is manpower.
Well, I feel like you wouldn't need as many people either, because if it's already been taken care of, you know, someone up at the trash and recycling.
We have two.
Yeah. We might need one more.
The,
On Wednesday.
it's never simple.
No.
But we actually have a building, we discussed that part of it. If we if we do end up putting in a set of scales, we actually have a building right there where we'd really like the scale to go. So it's trying to round up the horses and
Sure.
get them in the corral to what we're actually gonna do. So I guess we're done on.
So, two questions. If we're still uncertain about citing a scale and we want to hold off on proposing something to the voters, is that what I'm hearing you say? Is like, we're not quite sure where it would go, don't know if it's going to be possible. Then should we consider, presenting this budget, which is a 26% increase for this department, right? Which is, an extra 27. Well, it's a percentage. It's an extra, looks like $120,000, $110,000.
Yeah,
From,
and trucking.
Yeah. So we could present this. Can we present voters a question instead that says to save X amount on demo and dirty wood? Would you approve the select board just not accepting it?
It's your warrant. You guys can put
Could we do two articles, one with and one without?
You can. You probably want to ask if, you want just the order, right? You want to ask if you want to get rid of demo, and then if the answer is no, the second question, it would be like what you did with the academy question.
Sure.
Where you had,
Yeah.
two questions and,
So we're not
if
gonna go on the red.
you voted no on question 4, then do you want to vote on question 5?
One more.
So that might be possible. I mean, that would technically save.
Thank you.
115,000 if we remove demo.
The savings of $150,000.
115.
Yeah, 115.
But this doesn't have anything to do with Eco Maine
Or the trash.
Totally different.
or the trash.
And that could be a separate question, or it could just be something we deal with administratively.
Eco means recycling.
Right.
Recycle.
So one strategy, let me give the overview for everybody here. One strategy we're thinking of is to not renew our Eco Maine contract and just accept cardboard, which is the only, it's the only recycle that has a substantial market for it. Right? So we only accept cardboard and everything else goes into the other dumpster. We call it the trash dumpster, but really what's going on there is that it's converted to energy, right? It goes to waste energy. Everything else would go there. And we would hold on to the cardboard and presumably get something for that. It's not gonna be a whole lot, but it won't be costing us money to haul to Portland.
So qualify us for that
Potentially would disqualify.
potential to keep, if we recycle cardboard, we'd be able to qualify for that
We
money
don't-
back from the big
We
boss.
don't know.
We don't know because they haven't come up with the
We
rules
don't have
on
the
that.
rules yet, yeah.
The other possible strategy for qualifying for that funding, and by the way, there are, 400 and some odd municipalities who are all eyeballing that pool of money. And we're like this big in a giant ocean. The other strategy is that if the rules come out that disqualify us because we're only accepting cardboard and recycling, then we could just sign up with Eco Maine again. I mean, it's not like, I strongly doubt that they would turn us down if we went back to them and said, we changed our mind.
They'll take our money.
And then we would qualify and then
Would they?
presumably,
I would assume so, yes.
So how about,
It's what they do, I mean,
I don't think we've asked,
that's what.
A, what would be the cost under a new contract?
No, we don't know, because we sent a letter saying that we were not gonna renew.
Or B, contact them and say, hey, we're looking at bringing you cardboard only. The thing about cardboard only is you can't contaminate. So
Right, it's gotta be
the
pure
onus will be on Joe and the crew.
to make sure that people aren't
Yeah.
messing it up.
That Joel doesn't show up and put his peas cans in.
Goes in the meadow.
So maybe that discussion just happens administratively. I mean, I don't necessarily think that we need a warrant item for that if we're, I don't know how you guys feel about this. Yeah, the eco-main stuff, if we say, hey, we're just not gonna deal with them, but we'll take cardboard. I think that's, for all of those townspeople who are serious about the recycling, I think they would understand that, especially if we kind of rename the trash bin as like, no, this is waste to energy. This is stuff that goes in there, gets turned into energy. It's not buried.
And I had the number, had it in my head, but what goes to Eco Main, there's a big chunk of it that goes right in the.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing. It's like,
All they do is
yeah.
pass through.
Oh, no, you're right.
Well, at that point, they're paying.
Listen, when we checked with them 3 years ago, they were sending like 12% of their waste stream into waste to energy. Today, because there's still not a whole lot of market for some plastics and a bunch of other things it's probably double that.
Right,
Yeah, at
but
least.
so Eco Main has a waste to energy.
Yep.
They also have, like, where we go, MWAC, a spot where, okay, this trash gets hauled to Bangor or
Yeah.
Northwood. There's a chunk of trash that
It gets buried. It's
that
landfill.
got recycled.
Yeah, it gets landfill. Yeah.
It gets landfilled. Correct.
Mark and Kayla, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm fine handling, the recycle thing internally. I don't think we have to go to the voters with that. If we were gonna do away with demo and not have any of that stuff there, then I think I would want the input of the townspeople to say, yeah, we're done funding this, or no, we know it costs a little money, but it's worth it to us and we're willing to pay to keep funding it. I would want that input from the taxpayers.
I agree with Mark. That's what I was thinking was if we were to get rid of demo, we really need townspeople to vote on that because I feel like a lot of people would be very upset if we got rid of that without their input.
Well,
Or
and I
if we
think,
spent money without their input.
I think, I mean, I was in this town in the 1980s and I remember when they were at the transfer station, they were pretty brutal in terms of charging people. And there was a lot of stuff that ended up by the side of the road. Down the end of the Carver Road, no one's looking, boom, gone. And then the town ends up paying 3x to go clean it up. So we do have to be careful about, it's kind of like leaning into the wind. You don't want to fall on your face. We have to be careful not to push people too hard. And refusing to take demo, my personal opinion is, I think should be on the ballot. Personally, I think people like a one-stop shop. That's my opinion. And if you make it convenient for people to dispose of their waste, they will do the right thing. But if you start saying, I'm gonna pick and choose and I'm not gonna take this and you have to go deal with that over there, and people just be like, nope, I'm gonna go check out the Carver Road.
Game cameras, no.
Yeah, well, it's dumb, but
So let's go maybe a year ahead and we purchase a scale and it's down there. We found out where it belongs. It's all set up. And we're in black ink. Is that correct, Tony? And at that point, if we're doing this correctly?
On demo, maybe. Yeah,
We get to black.
Oh, we're not charging for trash.
that's right.
yeah, paper
Oh,
throw.
Yeah.
Okay, so that aspect, yes, we realize that's But for the rest of it, what Kent was just talking.
Yeah, so for demo, theoretically, I don't wanna get boxed in.
No, just
That
broadly.
if we get a scale and you're paying by the pound,
Should be.
Right, we can get it off the tax.
the right way to do it is it costs, you figure out to take it, you're getting rid of it for 110, but then you have to build in transportation and our labor.
Yeah.
So you build that in, so that covers that part of it, and then you're at worst breaking even. I don't know. Black is.
Yeah, it's like
Heading to Profitville, I don't see that.
I'm not looking for profit, I'm just looking to break even.
Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for.
So
Like
it's
a
non-ready.
chicken coop. You never get your money back.
Dave,
Before you get rid of demo, I think there should be an option for another option, which is the scale on the same ballot. So they can either vote for getting rid of it or paying for it.
Right.
But it still would be one-stop shopping if you do it that way, or, you know, if you get rid of it completely, then my Jeep that I filled with garbage on the side of the road, you need one of his trucks, because it's not gonna make it there. People aren't gonna burn it, they're gonna bury it, or
toss it on their neighbor's yard.
toss it on the neighbor's yard, or in the woods,
Carver Road.
on the snowmobile trail. All of that will be covered.
Carver.
Dude, we had a pile of shingles up by Mom's house, off in the woods.
I can't believe that.
That's exactly what they did.
So, yeah.
They're still gonna have these bad apples. I'll tell
Oh,
you.
of course. I mean, it's always gonna be 1% that's gonna do the wrong thing.
It seems like South Monmouth Road is culprit.
Oh, yeah.
But well, you know, there's a washing machine down there. That's, we don't even charge for those.
Yeah, it's just someone being.
Can I say something? I have I have a Hype's Road, Carver Road area near me that's famous for hot water heaters and anything else you can imagine, the things I can't even talk about. And since things have improved out at the transfer station, that has greatly almost diminished, almost disappeared, the negative night numbers. So whatever they're doing,
So, well, I can give you a little secret.
hats off.
Justin might be the one who knows this other. We had an issue on Town Farm Road. Turn around, down, tide. Lady that lives down there calling every week. I'll lay down there. So we put a game camera up.
Got 'em.
We haven't had any problem. Put it that way.
Well, it's
Didn't even rip the
unfortunate.
game camera.
It's unfortunate. And, you know, if you push too hard, you're not gonna save money. You're gonna cost the town money, long run. So-
Base money can't be like, even charge a little bit for the dump sticker itself.
They used to do that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, that's always been a topic of discussion as well. I mean, we've talked about it
I mean,
before
you
many
could go
times.
to. Charge per bag.
Yeah,
So it's $3 for a bag of trash. You buy a little sticker. Has to go on the trash, so you show up to see Joe, no sticker, no dump.
I mean, how many residents do we have? Say, you had to pay, I'd pay $25 a ticket, a sticker.
For the year.
I mean, how much would that raise a year for all the residents that are registered to get a transfer station?
And that would go by,
I mean, it raised quite a bit of money. I would think.
well, it's not per resident.
it'd be per
It would
sticker.
be per.
House.
So, yeah. Apartment building or, house, not, so one house could have 5 people,
Yeah.
but it's, you only need one sticker. Unless you're like Dave and got 6 cars, and one on each just in case.
That
Well,
cost
we
you.
have four stickers.
Yeah.
I don't wanna pay $100.
No,
No.
sense. Yeah.
Oh, do you need your little red card and haul trash?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, even
I'll
if you
bring my
just
trash
got
to
one
Q's
per
house.
house.
We'll get in his car.
I
Yeah.
think
We're out in the weeds.
That's what it's like, oh,
Does the fees that you collect, does that show as revenue in your budget, or does that go into the general fund?
General fund, right?
That does. So once I hand it over, it disappears.
So, I'm
Was it rec that was asking to have their revenue show?
Enterprise account, yeah.
Would it make sense, would it be an educational piece to the town to have yours show as a revenue line? So people can see what the actual cost is to the town?
We could show it, but you have to pick one way to budget or the other. That, some towns do net budgeting, so they apply the revenue to the direct departments. We don't do that. So all the revenue here is revenue. It goes in the general fund and it offsets all the expenses for the town. In order to create enterprise funds, the town would have to create it. The problem, there isn't really a problem, but the transfer station will never generate enough revenue unless you went to a bag per throw to cover itself. So it would show a revenue line that would be less than what's needed. And then you'd have to have another question to say, will the town subsidize this separate fund with general fund dollars to make it whole every year? So it'd be a little, it's harder for town meeting towns to do that than it is for a council form of government. It can be done. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just, it's more complicated.
We do keep track of the fees. They go into a specific sub-account of a sub-account, right?
Oh, sure. So I mean, the transfer station has a revenue line that's in the budget. It shows how much.
Under other income. So we do know what those quantities are, what that money is, but it's just not associated with the transfer.
Just as I know the number, demo, we're upside down 43,000. Last year. Running heavy this year. So I asked Justin for where do we stand right now? I'm over. Unfortunately, we're coming into camp season where everybody gets everything new every year.
New mattresses every year.
Who's that guy with the mattress?
I know, so that's.
I know I'm only one of five here. My preference is to create a question that includes a scale. So we're sort of saying, are we going to do one-stop shop, or are we going to do no demo and the skinny transfer station, right? So this or that.
When does this question have to be written?
By April 1st.
Yeah.
April 1st.
So if I can't get an answer.
If we don't have an answer by April 1st, then we just won't do it. I mean,
using this.
Yeah.
We'll continue demo for another year until
we do get better information. I mean, or we would pull the trigger on purchasing the scale and all that other stuff when we do finally get an answer about where it makes sense to locate that. But at least it would move that, ball down the field a little bit. So if the voters say, yeah, we want to spend 120 grand, maybe another 10 grand for site work to, put all of the scale in place so we can start charging people exactly what is due, then we know that can be implemented at some point during the fiscal year. And if the answer is no, and they go with option number one, which is the skinny transfer station, then we'll go skinny transfer station.
They won't know what it costs.
Right.
The people won't know how to vote because they don't know what my trash is gonna cost if I have to get rid of it. If I have to get rid of the demo, I don't know how much it's gonna cost me a year to get rid of my demo. How do you do that?
I don't know.
You can't. You can't put a question like that to a voter who can't come up with a number. It's not fair. You're gonna get it the other way. Everybody here has the same problem.
The alternative, I mean, we can.
The alternative is to bury it. I don't even know how much it's gonna cost to have an excavator come in to dig enough hole that I can put my trash in.
Well,
Hopefully you're not doing that in the shoreline zone, Dave.
it took me 5 minutes before the last meeting 2 weeks ago, come up with 5 companies that will come
But
on.
we don't know it. You know it. Put it in the question. Put that answer in the question.
Or in the publicity of the question. I don't know if it belongs in the question itself, but people would be, it would be their responsibility to dispose of that waste.
Dump guy.
Call the
But when you're
dumpster guy.
putting X's or O's in the question, I can't call the dump guy. I'll have the numbers to call maybe.
Well, let's see if we can get the answer first, because the whole discussion might be moot, because if we can't get you a number,
I have 37 mattresses.
I doubt that you're gonna be willing to just make up a number to put on the warrant. Whatever's on the warrant, we have to raise. So it's gonna hit the tax rate whether we can do it or not. So if we don't have a firm ability to do it, it doesn't make a lot of sense to ask the taxpayers to raise the taxes.
We have an estimate on the cost of the scale.
Yes, but we don't know what it's gonna cost to install it, depending where it's gonna go or how much any of that's gonna go. So if we can't get that answer to you by April 1st, then I don't know what the question is.
And then we have like, we have to know like how to maintain, how much it's got to maintenance the scale, how
We
much.
have an idea about that stuff.
Four grand a year, cause you have to have it,
Calibrated.
calibrated twice a year.
You could add that in the fees though. And then like Dave's saying, like,
But that's for
we have a scale, how much it's gonna cost for us to get rid of the demo wood?
It'll all be weighed as well. So,
On the scale.
no, it'd all be,
That'd be priced in.
it'd all be weighed.
Yeah, but how much,
Yeah, but how much?
how much a pound are you gonna charge?
Market rate.
Which is why.
It's
The question, because you're only
Right.
20 people here.
Yeah.
My idea is, they bitch and complain over giving $5 for something. You put them on a scale, it's gonna cost them 200. They're gonna get off the scale and drive away.
Good.
They're gonna get on the scale and have to find
But
then we're
it's
gonna.
better than finding calling the dump guy, who's gonna cost twice that much.
Right.
I started a new dump business, so
I
maybe
know.
just call me.
There you go.
I think the biggest
Call
thing
Brian.
is, somehow Winthrop adapted when they got a scale. So if we end up going that way, then we'll adapt. I mean,
And so Winthrop's scale price. I don't know if
Just went up. Yeah, it's announced.
it's done.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Council voted.
they've gone to $210 a ton.
There you go. And that's covering their costs.
That covers their cost.
They're not making a
They were
profit on
at
it.
150 and they were
Losing money.
losing money.
Right.
But people don't even want.
So there's your number, Dave.
So.
Take it somewhere else.
So could potentially we just get rid of demo wood and then bring it back when we have all the numbers? And for the scale and everything else?
it's not just demo wood, it's demo, period. No matter what
Right.
we're putting in the demo bin. So, but I don't know that we can,
Right, it's dirty wood
And dirty wood.
and
Yeah.
bulky items, all that
everything.
stuff.
I don't think that we can, just,
Pressure treated,
That's
all
what
the
they-
dirty wood that goes in the big debris pile, anything that goes in the dumpster, couches,
Mattresses.
mattresses.
So that-
All that
so
stuff.
what we did was first price increase that we brought to you. The things that we're gonna keep on taking. Tires. Refrigerators and ACs.
Yep.
Metal. Brush. Bulbs, batteries. So all, the refrigerators and the AC, the bulbs, the batteries, the TV monitors, the things that
Are hazardous.
are hazardous, we're gonna continue to take as I'm proposing. We're gonna keep taking that stuff. It makes no sense to get rid of that stuff, in my mind.
Right. Now we're gonna charge as well. We're gonna start charging.
Before we move on, I want to say how much I appreciate the thick skin of the people who work. Managing change, managing the general public is a challenge, and they do a great job. And it's not an easy job, and I am grateful.
But certainly not. It's, Joe will show up on Monday morning, I go, no phone call this week. Rarity.
Plus I plow. I'm tired too, but that's okay.
So unfortunately, we can't move on because we need some direction from you folks. We
Okay.
need to know what it is that you want us to do to prepare for your April meeting, what you want to be on the warrant, understanding that if we can get this information, we'll bring it back, but we need to know if we bring it back with the information, what do you want us to do? And if we can't get the information by that meeting, what do you want us to present to you at that meeting. We don't have a lot of time left.
Well, and I think we're all aware that, you know, we started talking about these things pretty late in the game. So, I mean, I don't want to get rid of demo and then try to bring it back, because that makes absolutely no sense at all. So if we're, so we would, you know, if we get the information, great, then we'll figure out how we want to word the questions, but,
So just to remind you how we got here, you know, we're late in the game.
oh, yeah.
We were given
I know what you were
A guide.
directed, yes. And I know that we, you know, the horses got changed, you know, mid-ride, because we started looking at that saying, what's the reality of that? So, I think that we need to, if we don't have the information, we keep demo in the budget. And that's on us, because we decided to do that. I mean, for me, that's what I'm thinking, as opposed to take out demo and then come up with questions next year about bringing demo in a scale, you know? So, but if we have the information, then we'll develop a question about, you know, what it would cost to put the scale in and cost to get it in place.
when's the next meeting?
They have another meeting in March in 2 weeks, but there's not as of right now, there's nothing on there for the budget. So the way it was kind of done is you guys would give us direction here tonight, and then we would come back to you at your April meeting with the warrant. But we can still do that, because unless there are other issues that are coming up, we're going to need at least that amount of time in order to get the information that you'll need in order to make that. So what I'm hearing, and I want to make sure that all five, or at least three of you agree on the direction, is that the demo is going to stay in one way or the other. We're either going to continue to operate like we are now with the new fee schedule if we don't have the information. So the question will be just, this is the budget. Or if we can come back with information, we can work with you at that April meeting about how you want to word maybe the two questions, or whether you want to add the scale or not. Is that the direction that we're going in? Does everybody want to keep demo in the budget one way or the other, or are we still considering removing it? Because those are two completely different.
What are you guys thinking?
I think we have to leave it in there until we get to a point where we're gonna ask the townspeople if you want to stop taking it.
I agree
That's my
with that.
sentiment. It's gotta stay in there until it gets to a point where we ask the townspeople, do you want us to stop taking demo to save X number of dollars? And I'm assuming this, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but this $115,000 increase in the budget, there's got to be a good chunk of that is because of the new tipping fees, correct? That's not
trash.
just them. Right.
That's above and beyond.
Well, so the 115 piece is down. The overall budget is part of why it's up, is the increase in the tipping fee.
Which is 77% increase
Right, for tipping fees.
for tipping fees.
For trash.
Yeah,
Fees.
for trash, trash.
That's
only.
trash.
Yes, regular old trash.
People at my house and somehow we need more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buys too much stuff. Guarantee you she's not.
We'll find out.
Is there anything else you need to know, Tony, for us to, you have what you need? Right.
I guess, is there any?
What our marching orders are, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I've already got that ball rolling.
Tell me why we can't proceed with at least a rough plan for the scale?
We can, it's just that if it's not possible to happen and we put it on the warrant, it's gonna hit the tax rate, and then we might not be able to put it in. So that's the question. Do you want to raise the $150,000 if we find out that we can't use it in May? It's still gonna show up on your tax bill. We're gonna raise the money, the town's gonna get it from everybody. Whether you actually install it or not, we have to raise it.
True, but I mean, we could simply say to folks, this is about,
We know what the cost is to get it. If I don't have to build a road,
Yeah.
you don't have to move the fence. If we can put it, well, it has to be flat. If we can put it where we think we wanna put it, we know what the cost is. It's really that simple. I met on site with the scale guy,
right, the owner of the company.
the owner of the company. So there's no, this is what it is.
Not a lot of wiggle room.
No,
Yeah,
and
it's
he
not gonna
told
move around.
us, and he told me exactly, this is what you guys gotta do. T is we gotta get 4 piers put in the ground.
Yeah.
To hold the scale. That's just,
And it all relies on whether or not,
We can-
where the cap is, where the cap is.
Correct.
So
right.
that is the whole point
But
to
if the
find
cap
out
is
from DEP.
everything but one little corner,
Yes,
that it might make it a moot point.
yes.
Well, it seems to me, here's my calculus. I realize we're not gonna save, right now, we're paying $115,000 extra this year because we don't have an ability to accurately measure what's going on.
So,
Let me finish. If we're gonna pay $115,000 a year and it costs us $120,000 to buy a scale so that next year we pay zero,
Yeah.
that to me makes a lot of sense.
so
But if we got demo.
on the 115 though, that, because of what you voted tonight, the 115 impact is not gonna be the same as it was before we started this meeting because we've raised the rates
Raised
on
the
it.
rates.
Now, I have no idea to tell you.
It's something a little bit
We
less.
tried to simplify it,
It doesn't, even if we're off by half, that is still a 50% rate of return.
You're
Right.
forgetting the tipping fees.
Well,
that's
and
what
what
we're
it does is
talking
it gives us the ability to be super accurate with our tipping fees and to earn back the cost of the scale. That's basically what I'm
It's still
getting
gonna,
at.
it's still gonna cost us.
It's gonna cost 120 grand, 130 grand, depending on whatever site stuff you need to do, right?
Well, I feel safe.
You don't know how much it's gonna cost me.
Well, what I can tell you is that it's gonna cost you this year, but it's gonna save money in year 2.
How can you do that? You don't know how much
Oh, no.
I bring in weight.
So what
How can
this,
you tell me
what
that?
this is gonna do is he is not paying for your stuff. Your stuff costs what it costs. You're paying for it.
Yeah.
They're not.
No
He's not.
subsidies.
He's not. She's not. So it's whatever the cost is. So the cost of getting rid of the demo has gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the tipping fee is on the end where we ship it, plus trucking, that's what you're paying. That may change during 1 year. We're gonna make it so, what I'm saying we don't, I know you guys are the boss, but we're gonna charge what it costs. Full freight, soup to nuts. To get rid of.
I think that's
Now,
exactly, people ought to pay for what they're using. I mean, that's the point of the scale, right? But it takes $120,000 to get in. And until we can make sure that people are being charged exactly what is appropriate, we're gonna have cost overruns like we're seeing this year, right? $115,000 a year.
So under the trailer plan that we've started right now,
Yep.
okay? So if Hugh brings me over a trailer full of mattresses.
Oh, boy.
And David brings me over a trailer full of concrete blocks.
Yeah.
I'm charging him the same $50.
Right.
Right. His cost me way more to get rid of.
Right, for sure.
That's, so you get to the scale, it eliminates all that fudge factor.
Right.
It's cost what it costs.
So
Makes sense to me.
I would suggest that we have, it sounds to me like maybe we've got 3 questions. We've got one question, which is,
God.
we do exactly the same, we do what we've always been doing. And we go with a 26.5% increase on the transfer station, it's $115,000 increase. We do away with the demo, right? And tell people
No.
they gotta take care of it. They gotta take care of it on their own business, on their own dime.
Did they bring it to Winthrop?
Nope.
No.
You gotta call Riverside.
Or you go to MWAC.
Or you can drive it to MWAC itself.
Right down.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Or the third thing is,
Oh.
this scale, the town invests 120 grand in a scale. It's one of three, pick one of three.
I think that would be the best question.
Seems to me like that's the way we would go.
A little old lady going to MWAC, trying to get rid of her mattress. That ain't gonna happen.
No.
Well, she's probably not gonna lug her mattress to the.
How do you feel about that?
Yes, I'm doing it.
Just take it down to the Carver Road.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it sounds like we're gonna have to budget for one way, and then when we get the answer to the question, yeah, we want to scale, well, that's not gonna come into play till the following year, because
Correct.
if we don't budget for it, then it sounds like we're probably gonna budget to let things ride the way they are for a year, and then when we get our answer to our question, then we can budget for it for next year.
Yep, we can adjust it.
It's nice and easy problem.
So what we're saying is with this new pay schedule is if we don't find out about the scale and all that, at least we have something to try to not be upside down, at least so much.
Right, that's bad.
Yeah. So that
It's
appears to be
triage.
the right direction.
It's
So we get all
triage.
the information, make an informed decision. And I'll finish by saying we need to be responsible for our own waste, not trying to get it onto Winthrop or have somebody pick it up. Let's take care of our own and be responsible for it, please.
With the scale, hold my 20-foot dump trailer.
Yeah, it's 40 feet long, the actual scale. It's made for a 1 ton in a trailer.
So you could actually weigh your own stuff going out to make sure you're not getting screwed by MWAC and all that, or, right?
You have to go on.
I'm just saying, you know, checks and balances.
Send Joe, he does well with all that interaction with people.
So that's,
I don't think.
Not that it matters, I just.
yeah, that's not going to MWAC, that's going to Grimmel.
Either way.
We could fit their truck on there, yes. Because that's it's not a 60 foot.
It's a journey from 10 o'clock if we don't get on to the next.
Okay, so you're all set?
Unless there's questions about public works budget. I got 2 budgets.
There wasn't anything, when you had the discussion with him, there wasn't any ask to come back. His budget there is it's about 2% like you asked for. There wasn't any initiatives in his regular budget, so unless you have come up with something since then, I think.
Tony can go home and
I
go
think
to
they're-
sleep.
Yeah. I think we're all set.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, I should be sleeping. Thank you, guys.
Before you do that, make sure you get home before you do that.
Yes.
On to, the warrant for.
No.
No,
we gotta
it's still
go
in the
to
budget.
Final draft budget review.
So I'd like to let,
Yes.
Hugh let the cemetery, because there are some changes that are happening to our relationship with the cemetery, so I want to let them go. So if any of them want to go home, they can.
We have any brain power left after all this?
Cemetery, we're all ready for the
Yeah,
cemetery.
we're already.
Yes.
So, we're here tonight to, Justin asked us to provide a number, of course, just like any life flight or KV transport and all the folks that put in for.
It's gonna be,
I think we're on that line with all those.
it's gonna be in the larger,
Oh, okay.
it's the one that starts with revenue on it, funding. And you're gonna look for the page that's got these yellow lines.
Please.
So the cemetery is up in the top section. So you'll see that the number on the town side of the budget has gone down because we used to manage their payroll, their insurances and things like that were with the town. And then what they did is they reimbursed us.
Yes.
What's being proposed now is that's going to be reversed. So they're managing all of their own stuff, their payroll, their insurances and things like that. And this would be our contribution to the cemetery, which is a little bit more than it was before because they have to pay for the services that the town was providing. From the town's perspective, it looks less on the expenditure side because they're not reimbursing us on the revenue side. We're just paying them. Does that make sense? Our relationship's kind of reversed, if you will.
Right.
The way it had been in the past.
Yeah. A little back history, we were approached by there's MMA who insures this property that we're in today, said that because MCA, Monmouth Cemetery Association, is kind of a quasi, not even really an official department, that this was liability the way it was being insured, that they didn't feel appropriate they were insuring us we looked at a separate entity. So we have 13 properties that we oversee. Some are in the town's name, some are in our name, some are still in private names. That still remains to be ironed out. But the idea was that we would reverse it, as Justin just said, instead of the town carrying them insurance and payroll all going through that, so forth, workers' compensation, so forth, that we would take over all those responsibilities. So we have done that. In the discussion, when we were asked about, you need to do that, we said, well, we'd like to ask for those additional costs that we're going to incur. To be, and it was like, I guess that sounds reasonable, was the answer we were given. So here we are, asking for a little bit more than I think was it 14 last year we asked?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. And you're 17 now.
It's 17
number.
It
needs to be a little higher. It does.
Cody Roy is our treasurer. And also Vice President Mary Turner's here, and she's also the town sexton. And Cody's been crunching some numbers, and we've been going back and forth. And Cody, you want to speak for a moment on any of those numbers at all?
Yeah, I think the biggest increase we saw is just running through our own payroll service. The insurance increases came from the increase in liability, which I think we're still ironing out the final number for. We got to figure out what's going to look like once we actually inherit all the new properties, and workers' comp. I think that was 17.5 or something.
So we thought about maybe adding a little more to it, a little wiggle room, so 17.5. We're trying to, obviously, we're taxpayers.
First year, so.
Right, so kind of some guessing work.
And we also want to put out that even with the 14, we didn't quite have to expend that much for general maintenance. But that was because it was a drought. Several years just prior to that, we were mowing lawns and trimming right up until September.
Rains and grows.
Rains and grows, so that number can fluctuate a lot. So we feel that this number, along with the new responsibilities that go with payroll, liability, and so forth, insurance, and workers' comp, the unknown, the first year, as Chris said, we think we can rely on that. We're trying to be conservative but realistic at the moment as we're learning this change. Do you have any questions about, just a little further back history, back when Kristen's sister Darlene was on the board and some other folks, I think I was there, going back a few years, we made an agreement that we would keep, we were actually quite low back then, we had asked for a lot for several years. We've always been trying to reach what we feel is the general operating cost. So mowing, trimming, and I would include even tree work because trees fall from cemeteries. So capital expenditures, we try to pay for, like my lawn tractors and fences and rebuilding roads. We try to do that with our own investment monies based on perpetual care and so forth. But the town's money we've asked for is just trying to do the mowing and the trim and the general everyday maintenance. So
how about repairing stones that get knocked over or break?
So that we have not included in what we asked from the town. We've been doing that with our own investment money. So that's
I can speak on that. So a requirement we have, being 501c13 of the cemetery, is when someone buys, a cemetery space from us, we are required legally to put a certain percentage away in an investment account. And that investment account's restricted funds. It's only used for long-term maintenance and things like that. So say someone's stone is 100 years old, broke, they're not around to fix their stone. We have their investment money set aside for those expenditures. So we don't consider that in the operating budget.
Okay.
Right.
I was just asking because in other towns, sometimes those things had gotten neglected and then the town, I'm thinking when I was in Bath and we made a conscious decision to start saying, okay, we're going to fix 10 a year. So the town put money away each year to try to start catching up on those that had been kicked over or.
Working with Craig Cunningham somewhere?
Back in the day.
Yeah. Okay.
So, So I just didn't know whether that was something that you might come to the town someday for, but if you have the funds for it, then you're answering my
We're
question. I
trying
just,
to manage funds so that we don't have to ask for all that from you.
Okay.
So far, we've done a really good job with it.
I think the only question that might come up this first year is we still have to get the legalese done and get transfers of, find out who owns what, get the deeds. We can't find deeds, hire attorneys, move all those properties back
we can
over.
do that.
Oh, you're gonna do all that? And then.
We'll need your help in order to get all the background, but we can have the town's attorney work with you on it. We can take care of it.
That's gonna be a large expense too for us to
I
incur.
mean, I'm willing to go and sit in the town office and search deeds. I mean, anybody can do that, but I'll help you with that.
Yeah, we can help with that, because like we have an engagement with them for all our foreclosures and all, so it's not a big deal for them to work that into their work schedule.
If we give me a team effort, that would be really gratefully appreciated. And just to let you know about the stones, this is gonna sound a little cold, but it's a lot. By the way, the amount's 30% that we have to put aside by law to invest. But that's just for basically keeping the lawn mowed and trimmed and the grave settles, we love it. That's basically what those kinds of things are viewed as, what's called perpetual care. The stones themselves and actually the earthly remains of what's in the ground there, in the eyes of the law, that's your personal property. Actually, some homeowners policies, if a tree falls or someone runs into it, some homeowners policies will actually pay for your stone to be repaired. Not all of them, but most of them. So that's just a little side note of education that the town actually, or the cemetery association, upfront is not responsible for those. However, it's a good sign of a community or town that takes care of
Yes.
that old philosopher that said, you can judge a character and quality of the community by the way in which they take care of their dead. Monmouth can hold its head high because they take very good care of those folks.
And if the cemetery association goes away, it becomes the town's responsibility to take care of it. So we would have to do this one way or the other.
Right.
So it's worthwhile having people that care about it,
Right.
do a good job, and for the town to support their efforts.
Well, it seems to me like a $17,000 annual expenditure to make sure that our cemeteries are well taken care of is very reasonable.
Thank you all very much. Those are the other questions.
You guys okay with the
Thank you,
cemetery? Okay.
You said 17.5
Or 17.5 is what we had planned for.
So I made that note here.
Okay.
And Hugh and well, Mary is too, a wealth of information if you ever need to know. We had a conversation just recently and I learned a lot from you about some of those things. So,
And Cody's learning fast, even though he looks young.
yeah.
I gotta get my beauty rest. I got a jury duty.
Yay.
Congratulations. Hopefully it's something interesting at least. Okay, so everybody's good with the cemetery? Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys should be all set.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You want me to just run through the admin budget real quick there, as per all of these, there.
Which page is that?
That's it. I'll start with this one. It says, general government on the top left side. It's only 2 pages.
Small one.
It's only 2 pages.
It's only 2 pages.
The other one.
Yeah.
So, there are no initiatives or changes in this.
I'm still lost. You're gonna have to give me a second to find the right page.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the administration budget, which is the staff and the operations, not including the building of the town hall.
I have too many.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Small one.
I got it.
So,
That's the same as that.
Is 1.8%. That's largely, wages. The, municipal buildings, which is the line that takes care of, all of the, facility costs for the town office and the custodian, which cleans all of the town buildings, is included in the municipal buildings line. The code enforcement, there's no proposed changes. That budget, same thing with the assessing. Elected officials, the small increase for the MMA dues. And boards and committees is actually down because yay, the comprehensive plan is done and we don't have to pay the planner to do that portion of the work. So that budget went down a little bit. So the overall for general government article is a 0.5% increase. Any questions? There's no initiatives in there, so there's no changes to what we're doing. And then if we go, I'm done with that unless you have any questions specifically about any of those lines that are in there. Then I'll move back to the larger one that has more pages on it. The top of it would say funding sources on the left side. And there's a couple little orange boxes.
Yeah.
So the first two pages are revenues from the various sources in there. Those are up 1.6% for last year. We're not sure on revenue sharing yet. Sometimes we get an estimate, just in time for you to sign the warrant. Usually I have to make some kind of educated guess based on how the economy's doing and whether it's going to stay the same or go up a little bit. Because the treasurer is not.
Probably going to be a little bit better, just their general
It might
revenue
be.
projections in the state are
Yep.
up.
Yeah, so if I don't get
Expected.
if I don't get an official estimate, then we usually look at some of the indicators from the revenue forecasting committee, things like that from the state. And usually all us managers kind of say, what are you doing? And then we try to come to some consensus.
Right.
So that's the revenues.
How about homestead reimbursement?
We don't know what that is because it fulfills the commitment. It doesn't actually aid in anything because what we do is when we fund the budget, we raise the taxes minus the amount that we know we're going to get for homestead exemption. So while you're calculating the tax rate calculator, Donna can figure out what that homestead exemption number is going to be, and then it plugs in. So we actually raise less the amount that we were going to get homesteaded, and the homestead fills the remainder of the bucket, if that makes sense.
So budgeting
with
for
me.
it here now is kind of irrelevant because we'll rebalance come November or come late September.
On those items, yeah, we use placeholder numbers in there. They don't really mean anything. It's just a way to kind of indicate that that's how much money is going to come from the state. But the Homestead and Betty actually complete the commitment. So they're not true revenue. So we can't increase them or decrease them because they're calculated as part of the commitment process.
Side question on the homestead issue. Last year, homeowners paid a penalty because our assessment was so low.
Right.
This year, not the case.
Right. We'll be certifying at 100%. So you'll get the full $25,000.
Full $25,000.
The governor's supplemental budget has some changes to all of the personal exemption programs to make them one application, and then they build on top of each other. So instead of having a separate veterans exemption, a separate homestead exemption, you'd have one form and you check it off, and the rates for each of those is a little bit different. It hasn't made it through appropriations yet, but it is part of her supplemental budget package. So it may change a little bit. I don't think that they would apply it to this year, but they've done sillier things before and made the towns run around like chickens with their heads cut off because they don't understand how it works. Hopefully they will apply it for next year, but more to come on that. We'll see. So that's revenues, excise revenues are coming in strong. I have those up 9%.
What line is that on?
It's the very top of the first page.
Yeah.
Okay, motor vehicle and boat.
Yeah.
That's probably a realistic, if the economy is okay. People are. It's an
Cars
extra
keep getting more
$75,000.
More expensive.
Yeah.
Cars are getting more expensive.
So when do you just know what Wales' share of the transfer station?
I will know that as soon as you tell me exactly.
Oh, let's not talk about the transfer station again. So, yes, never mind.
So the Wales contribution is a formula based on the town's transfer station budget. So once we know what that number is, I can
Then we
calculate the
backfill.
Wales portion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the next page, on page 3, is a summary of all of the departments, basically the revenue that's needed to support the operations under all the subcategories of each of the major sections. So general government, public safety, public works, culture, recreation, and community services. So you can see, you can go down those and you can see most of them, we've talked about. Sometimes the percentages are a little misleading, like animal control, it's up 60%, but it's a small number. So it shows a big percentage, but it doesn't have any material impact. Like I've mentioned to you before, is we're attempting to hire a animal control officer with Winthrop and Manchester. We're going to share somebody. So that's kind of the plan there. That we've advertised and we've gotten a few applications, so we're hopeful. The biggest, let's see here. Do we have a separate key for that? Yep. So we did community services, but I'll go through those real quick. That's the one we were talking about with the cemetery. So general assistance is staying the same. I'm being conservative on that. We've spent more money than it indicates on there. We've this year we've had to house a couple of people and we've had to pay for a funeral for another person. Under the fuel and heating assistance, we have transferred that. The reason you're seeing the actual number be so high is because we've transferred that to RCAM per our agreement. So all of the heating fuel assistance money that's raised in town now will go directly to RCAM and they are managing it. So that 30,000 was a transfer of our fund balance of that heating fund to them to manage on our behalf. The money will only be used for Monmouth residents as it always has been. The outside organizations, these are completely up to you whether you want to fund these or not. The only new one in here is the Children's Center, which is the last one on the list between the two yellow lines. That is the facility. It's in Augusta. It's over sort of behind the Bucher Center, but down near the Maine State Credit Union, kind of in that area if you're heading to Lowe's from over there. They help with developmentally disabled youth. So kids can go there for either daycare, treatment, all those types of things. That's a new request this year to the town.
Tell me more about the senior property tax fund, tax refund, senior property tax refund.
That's the program that the town has enacted through an ordinance, which allows people over 65 years of age to receive up to $500 discount on their taxes. That money comes from the unassigned fund balance every year. So it's not a.
And they apply for it because we approved a bunch of them not too long ago.
Correct. Correct. Yep.
It's the most popular thing.
Yes.
Yes.
On the budget.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah. It usually gets the most yes votes.
Yes.
Trying to see here. Yeah, so that's the only new one on the list is the Children's Center. But if there's any of these that you would like to remove or change, it's completely up to you. These aren't invoices, they're donations.
I mean, it seems to me like all of these are important, mostly nonprofit organizations that plug a hole somewhere for Monmouth residents. So.
Senior Spectrum is still on that list.
Yep. Yes.
Just Tri-County Mental Health.
Just to give you guys an idea.
Right, no, it's the same thing though.
Meals on Wheels.
Kennebec Valley Community Action Program, Red Cross.
The only reason why some of them have zero is because they didn't send me a request. I don't carry forward previous years, so if they don't send me a letter, I don't put them on the list. But if you would like to add them back in, you can, but
I think they're fine.
The ones that are blank, they didn't ask, so all of you. So when we come over here, page 6 is where you start to hit some increases. Under the employee benefit line, there's a lot of changes in there. Health insurance is up 9%. Mostly this is being driven by legislative mandates that are requiring things to be considered covered. And so they have to pay for those. And we realigned, we did some work with Jessica on the retirement and the cash in lieu of. We're going to be bringing back, or I'm going to be bringing back a proposal sometime in the next year to change the cash in lieu of, because right now it's tied to the health insurance rates. It's a 3-month of the town's realized savings, but as health insurance keeps climbing, so does the cash in lieu of payment. So the employees' return on that goes up along with the health insurance. So when health insurance goes up 9%, the cash back payment to the employee goes up 9%. I think we should just fix that number, but I'll bring a full proposal to you. I have all of the numbers from the Manager Association, did a big study of all of them across the state. So I have a very good idea of what the average is and things like that. I'm going to bring you back a proposal so that doesn't keep climbing at the rate that it's climbing, because I think it's kind of outstripping its value if it gets too expensive.
Yep. I was surprised to see workers' comp go up 26%.
Yes, that's because of recent claims against the town. And that's all I'll say about that. Debt service is up. That's because we're realizing some of the borrowing that we've done in the last couple of years, and the payments are now in their full capacity. Usually when you borrow, the first year is an interest-only payment. So this is realizing what the total debt service is. When you get down to the assessments and fixed costs, you'll see I've highlighted those in orange. I carry those as flat until I'm told otherwise. I don't know what the county tax, the watershed number is, or the schools at this point. So they're being.
I was at a school department, actually Doug and I went to a school department meeting, budget meeting. They are looking at some additional state mandates for pre-K. And struggling to find out how they're going to fund it. They're somewhere between a range of 2% and 5%, basically, in terms of an increase in their budget. 2% if the state funds these pre-K services that they are requiring the school department to do.
For 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. Or 5% if the state doesn't and just tells them to do it anyway. So that's kind of where they're at. Doug and I were around the table with a bunch of people from various communities, Dresden, Hallowell, Farmingdale, and I mean everyone's in the same boat with over reliance on property tax with state mandated stuff. So they're all sort of in agreement that 2% would be a lot better than 5%. We'll see. They're not going to know for another month or so.
Yes.
And speaking of that, I know we passed by debt service. When we talked about the scale, $120,000, $130,000 expense, is that a large enough expense that we could capitalize it?
You can.
Because then it doesn't hit the taxpayers all at once, and it's actually more reflective of an asset that is going to last 20, 25 years. That would probably be the way that I would suggest that we go.
Do you have an indication of how many years? Because I can ask that question of our bank.
Sure.
What that will be if I know what you're comfortable with.
Well, I would say 10 years is kind of the standard thing.
I'll see if they'll do that amount for that.
I mean, it's a 20-year, it's clearly a 20 or 25 year.
Well, I guess it depends if the rate, if it's a 5-year, 2% or a 10-year loan.
Yeah, I can do both.
Well, that would sort of.
So also,
if the taxpayers say, oh, we want to keep demo and we want to keep weighing stuff and we want to charge people exactly what they're disposing of, then we sort of soften the cash flow blow by financing that expense rather than swallowing it whole.
Yeah, I think I
goes up
want to
with
know
the interest.
the
Interest right now is about 4 or 5%.
interest rates and what
Right.
for the.
So we could argue about.
Yeah, I'll ask him for two.
How
It's not
long
uncommon for them to give me like an A or B choice.
It's also
I'll bring
important to know that
Into the fee.
we, we're not in any danger of maxing out our credit cards. And we're paying off debt at a rate of about $580,000 a year in this town. So if that is our only capital expenditure request of the voters this year, then maybe that's still going to be a reduction in our debt load.
So that's the townwide section there. If you have any, if you don't have any questions, I'll move on to the reserves, which is the last one. And this is kind of where some, input we've put, we've played kind of a lot of games with this internally because we've been trying to do the best we can, knowing that a lot of the costs that are increasing this year are sort of out of our control. But these are things we can control while at the same time trying to keep in mind that we can kick the can on all this stuff, but it just builds up. If we don't put any money away for anything, then we're another year behind and it's a bigger problem later. So what we're doing now is the plan that's in front of you, which I appreciate your input, would be to continue to put $10,000 into the revaluation reserve. Tony has actually would like to have 350,000 in the paving, which mostly has to do, which I'm going to go back and talk to him after tonight, knowing that the North Monmouth water project probably won't be complete or won't be completed by the end of the summer or anything like that, or even by next spring. He was asking for the additional 100,000 so he could make sure that he could get North Monmouth all paved and continue with our paving program, which is about 250,000 a year for the other roads. He may not need all of that. I had already cut it to 300,000 from the 350. But if he's not going to need that money for another year, it is a potential that we could push that off another year. This does go into the reserve, so if we keep it there and he doesn't use it, it's still available in the future. So, yep.
I should have asked Tony when he was here. Anyone know what the cost of asphalt is these days? Because for a while it spiked and now it's come back down. So we could be a little more productive.
Yeah, we have been piggybacking on a 3-year winter contract with Allstate. So I don't know when that contract expires, but the last 2 years we've been using the winter contract and Allstate's been honoring it for
Sort of locking in their price.
Yes. Yeah, cool. I'm not sure if that extends into this next season or not. I'd have to ask Tony, but that's what, so I don't know what the price will be.
It seems to me like, I mean, I don't know how anyone else feels, but I'd follow Tony's lead in terms of, if we can wait on $100,000 of that expense and fly with a $200,000 paving road maintenance budget. FYI, we are starting to get the complaints. I got a phone call today about all the gravel roads that are all, potholes and such.
So the transfer station reserve is just a function of the per capita fee, from Wales. So once we calculate the budget, there's an additional on top of their transfer station fee they pay to use our transfer station. There's a per capita fee for their residents that goes into that. It's also part of that formula. And what we started doing last year was taking that per capita fee and putting it into the transfer station reserve account. It's supposed to be used according to our agreement for capital expenditures, but over the past history, it's just been falling in as revenue into the general fund. So so that really should be kept as a reserve fund transfer. Compton Hall Maintenance Reserve. I today reduced this to 10,000, but you can tell me what you want to do. Dennis would like that. It was 15 last year as a placeholder. We took money out of the remaining ARPA funds that were dedicated to Compton Hall, and we used that to create the reserve fund for Compton Hall. He would like that to be 20,000 a year, knowing what the expenditures are going to be in the next 4 or 5 years. I moved it down to 10 just to put it in line with the fire and the police department reserves, just knowing the budgetary pressures that we're under. But I'd like some feedback from you folks on what you're comfortable with there. So on my newest version, which isn't what's in front of you, because I gave that to you last week, is I have that at 10,000. It's just kind of an arbitrary cut, but so just trying to do the little bit that we can do where we can.
Wonder what Mark and Kayla are thinking.
Are they still there?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm fine at 10,000.
I had also attended that school budget meeting, and it sounded like our changes weren't like we were going up, but we weren't going to be as drastic as I think it was Farmingdale. So
Or Little Fannydale.
As a trustee, as a trustee of Constant Hall, well, I'd like to stay at 15, but
Kayla, sorry, I didn't mention your Zoom attendance. Where are you on the Cumston Hall Maintenance Reserve?
I don't know. Because I do know that that stuff does need to be redone, in a few years, so this is about increasing the reserve, right?
Yeah, yes. That's the
Um,
amount to go in it. Dennis, in his request to me was 20,000. I originally put 15 and I put it down to 10, just looking at everything else. But it's
think-
just it's just an arbitrary number that I picked. I'm just trying to relieve, where
We know it's gonna be a lot of pressure.
anywhere I can. Yeah.
I think the 15 makes sense just because we do have to maintain that building and we know that that's going to be a huge cost in a couple of years. But I'd be okay with the 10 too.
I'm okay with 10.
You and Kristen, both trustees, and you know what Dennis is probably thinking about.
The tower being repainted, trying to
And
put
other-
money in.
And what other, we know about power, but what other things might be based in it?
There's always fascia boards.
There's always, I mean, Mark can tell you about what that
I
building
know what
takes
goes
to.
on.
Yeah, exactly, and Mark can tell you what it takes to maintain that building because of where the water falls and, things
Stained
like that.
glass, so there's a lot of that issue right now.
We had that one window go, but I think Dennis has a handle on that. He's also looking into some, for that side of the building where the wind prevails, some ways to protect that. And he's doing some more research on that. So, I think that whatever we can do to protect those windows. And I mean, for me, I'm with Doug. And the furnace, we know there were those valves that needed to be upgraded to continue to make it run correctly, with the investment that we made in we had an old furnace that we were meshing with the new system, so it needs to learn to work with each other, and some of the old parts weren't communicating with the new parts. So, I mean, for me, I think that like anything, the more money that we put aside and save, the more it saves us in the long run from having to worry about that. I mean, I'd like it to stay at 15. I mean, I'd like the police and fire department to stay at 15 as well, where we maintain them, because all it is savings. We're saving money for what we know we are going to have to spend money on in the future. So those are things that make sense to me, to have those reserve accounts.
Well, that's what I was hoping. I don't want to pick on the bean counter because he's very.
No, I mean, and I.
No, I don't think,
mean,
I'm just trying to do what I can.
Having money set aside, especially when we know things happen, just like you lost shingles off of your roof, that happens to buildings and we're charged with maintaining them. And if we have the money in a reserve account, it's there to do these things.
So it sounds like with your knowledge and the 50 would be wise, having been one of the drivers of that boat for
Yes.
for 12 years.
Yeah,
I've seen
I mean,
the
you know
stories,
what that
I'm
building.
just trying to get a feel, so I don't like to, Justin's trying to crunch it, and I
Yeah.
as a taxpayer, I appreciate that, but at the same time, I think
Yeah.
15 probably sounds like a trade-off, maybe a compromise.
I mean, it's the way I operate at home too, just.
How much is in the Cumston Reserve?
Yeah.
So what there was is there's sort of two. So there's a relic that's there. I'm not sure where it came from, but it's been being carried forward in the audit. So with the 15,000 that was put in there last year, there's $38,883 in the Cumston Hall Maintenance Reserve right now. Currently.
So how much are we gonna contribute?
Yeah, it is.
10,000, you'll be in the 40s.
48, almost 50, yeah.
That sounds like a reasonable number to carry over.
And what's this tower gonna be again? The cost?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to bid that.
Pricey.
Yeah,
for sure.
well, people on lifts.
70.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have like volunteers, people that love the building. so
Oh, yeah,
much.
people volunteering on lifts. What could go wrong?
I mean, I love it so
You're gonna
much.
pay, you're throwing out a number of $100,000 paid now.
Okay, nice.
If it, I will start a painting
I'll do it
business,
for half.
buy a lift and paint it.
Well, Pete, this
And then
is
shut the business down.
people have lost their courage. It used to be painted by a guy tying himself off to the peak of the roof on a chair, and that is fact. So we've gone quite a ways
He
away.
didn't have insurance.
Others come.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna need I need consensus.
I would like 10.
I think.
I make a motion for 10.
Yes, I can't. It's-
He's trying.
You're making a motion, actually, or you just want to.
Just run.
I'm throwing out 10. For 10 motion.
So I have 110.
Doug and I are at
We're
15.
215.
So it's up to Mark and Kayla.
I'm fine at 10. We could put 50 in there and we're still gonna run short of money.
Nice.
You know, it's never ending. So I'm fine at 10. That bumps it up to 48.
Yeah. With the other increases this year, I'm good with 10 too.
10,000 a day.
They don't have to file.
Justin, what's the 65 facilities reserve?
That would be money for the fire station roof, and that's my next thing. So we approved, we brought a proposal to you that, and I've signed an agreement that says that if the town meeting approves the expenditure, then we will fund up to 65,000. They won't know until they remove the membrane to the full extent. My question to you is I think it may be prudent to take the 65,000 from the unassigned fund balance, not knowing how much of it we may actually need. So if it's put in here as something that hits the tax rate and the expense is only 50,000, then we've raised 15,000 more than we needed. But if you would, it's not that it's necessarily going to go to waste, because if it's not used, it's going to be in the facilities reserve. So whatever you're comfortable with, but I think it's a reasonable number that we could pull out of the unassigned fund balance if you so choose.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, that makes it easier.
Is everybody good with that? Okay. That's the way I have it in the budget. It shows up here, but there's a revenue on the revenue side that offsets it. And then I have the police department equipment reserve is 10,000, and the fire department reserve, I have it 10,000.
Okay.
The 10,000 for the PD reserve, $4,551 of that is already claimed for the next year because it's part of the 4-year lease purchase on the tasers. So we have one more payment of that. So of the 10,000, only about, 5 and change is what actually goes.
Can you look up what the balance is from the audit on those two accounts?
These aren't in the audit because these reserves were created just in the last year or two. But
Oh, okay.
I have the balance. What do I do with it? I just had it. Oh, here it is. Right here. Right in front of me. The police department equipment reserve. It's gonna be, we put 10,000 in fiscal year 25 and 15,000 in 26, and we took 5,000 out each. So there's about 15,000, about $15,987 is what it was.
And then we'd be adding 10.
Yeah, be adding
Okay.
10 more.
That's fine.
The fire department reserve has more money than that in it, because of the fact that in 25, we put 30,000 into that reserve. So with the expense, they bought something for 14,000. I can't remember what it was. From Dirigo Wireless, was it radios or?
As a repeater.
Repeater.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so there's $48,566 in that,
And we
in
would
the
be
fire
adding-
department equipment reserve right
We
now,
would be adding 10.
adding another 10.
Okay, that's fine. That sounds reasonable.
I think, yep, so that's it.
I have a question. Have you, or Tony or whoever, been trying to get a gasoline price for fuel? I know
Yes.
Other years you.
Yep. So Friday is the bid for power options.
I know we didn't get one.
Is it possible ever to figure out a way to fix that? You can't put any new codes in it. If you don't have a code, you're out.
Yes, Tony already has a replacement for that, and he thinks as long as we don't have, if the winter will stop, we think we can cobble together enough money to get it fixed with our current allocation.
That's huge.
So that would be a big deal if we can get that
That
done.
would be a big.
So cross your fingers that the snow stops.
We're on to the warrant for March 4th.
Yes. Amazon Capital Services is a whole bunch of stuff in here. Some of it's library books, some of it is stuff for recreation, so on and so forth. $3,196. Blue Rock Earthworks Materials Transport for the transfer station, $2,626. Blue Star Accounting and Advising, that's the pre-audit, $3,750. Bragdon Finley Funeral Home, $1,125. CAI Technology, that is our GIS mapping system, $3,000. Cougar Mountain Software, that's our financial system for our bookkeeping, $2,224. Drummond and Woodsum is town's attorney, $2,351. Avian Oil, various accounts, $1,412. Avian Oil, various accounts, $1,243. One's propane, one's oil, I believe. IOV Community Planning, that's the planner, $3,930. Legacy Appraisal Services, $3,000. That's for the Wilson Pond boat launch purchase appraisal we needed to receive the grant from the state. Maine Municipal Association Unemployment Insurance, $1,048. Maine Municipal Association dues, $6,049. Maine Technology Group, telephones and IT support, $3,909. New England Salt Company, $5,190. Pitney Bowes, $1,066 postage machine. State of Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles, $6,909. Statewide towing for pulling one of our big trucks that broke down, $2,978. TextMyGov, the annual thing for the texting system, $4,000. U.S. Bank Corporate Trust, Boston, interest, road improvement bond, $3,581, and the dam culvert and bridge bond, that's for Beaver Brook, Cocknawagan, and the Woodbury Pond, $8,365. And for a total warrant of $82,957.71.
Make a motion, we approve fiscal year 25-26 warrant of March 4, 2026.
I'll second that.
So there's a motion by Ken, second by Kayla, Chris.
The other K.
The other K, yeah. To approve the warrant for fiscal year 25-26, March 4th. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we.
Yes.
Do you know how long Julie's been working for us? Julie.
July, 20 years, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
She's retiring at 20?
Yes. And I don't know. We should be doing something, I think, probably to recognize.
At some point, we should.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we enter executive session pursuant to 1 MRS 4056C, real estate